Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Hey! Woo! That's the high point. Now
Yes.
we're
in the building.
Ain't it? But
Slide
no,
into the
we
weekend.
discussed this last week when you were here, Jay.
Yeah.
It's not, it really happens at noon because, and even for you, even later, because
my
we're not at the
Wednesday
halfway.
doesn't end until 6.
Right.
Yeah.
So for
Today's
you,
Wednesday?
it's later.
But my
Today
glass
is
is
hump
always
day.
half full.
Okay.
We're currently sitting in Wednesday.
Whoa.
I thought it was Thursday. Dang.
What is wrong?
Sorry,
I wouldn't be here. When you see me, you know it's
Man,
Wednesday.
That's how you know we're at hump day.
That pushed me back a little
Sometimes I say to my,
Shout out my wife.
sometimes when my son, is like drifting in the
Yeah.
mind, I say he's lost in the soup. Gee, you were just lost in the soup.
bit. Yeah,
that
man.
happens.
I'll be up there like, what's going on?
That's because you be up late going on YouTube, going down rabbit holes. You lose track of time
Yeah.
doing that.
Man, I was in a whole hyperbolic time chamber, man.
Ty, you letting it grow out, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I'm
getting a
about
little
to. I think
crazy
I'm about
like
to.
me.
I think I'm about to cut it though.
He's joining the
Yeah,
Crazy
it's-
Beard
I'm
Club.
about to cut it. I'm about to shave it down.
Are you?
Yeah.
I don't remember being
it's
that
getting
full
out of
and that
hand.
thick.
It's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand.
Bull,
Yes.
how are you?
I'm great.
Everything good?
Everything's fantastic.
What's our bet situation?
My betting,
Lost
listen,
yesterday?
don't bet with me right now because I can't pick a game. I can't pick a winner to save my life. I said I picked the Charlotte to cover against the Cavs yesterday.
I don't know why you did
and the
that.
Cavs won by 106.
Well, hell, you know what? There was
Which
a
I'm
smart
happy
bet.
about,
If
but,
you,
you know.
if you tell me again going into the game that
Yeah.
there's no Mitchell and no Allen,
Right.
I play that
I
every
think it's
time.
going to be a close game, but
I would
it was
think
certainly
so.
was not. Cavs played a great game.
You know what the Hornets are in? Golf season mode.
Man,
They're
Yeah.
just coasting to the finish
they're
line.
done.
damn, Mike, I gotta ask Brad about that, man. What's going on? Why Mike's Prowse don't work with your owner?
Now listen,
It's a different deal.
I'm about to say
Good gracious.
a lot of players is good players, but cannot recruit talent. You see, John Elway still trying to get a quarterback in Denver.
Good gracious.
Well, at least Elway got a Super Bowl, though.
At least
He got
was,
Peyton, yeah. They want to
You know.
see.
I'm talking about
Developing one.
Developing
Yeah, he
one.
can't
Yeah,
develop.
no,
And
we
let's
ain't
be
doing
honest,
that. We
the
not-
year the Broncos won the Super Bowl with Peyton, the team dragged him to the finish
That's
line.
true.
You're right.
Didn't he
They
get
did.
benched by Brock Osweiler that year? Ain't that the same?
No, he got hurt.
No,
He
he got hurt. Osweiler may have
Osweiler
filled
played,
in,
and then
but
they
he-
put Manning back, but he
Okay.
wasn't very good.
But,
No.
but he got Manning, and Manning was great in Denver for a few
Yes,
years. It
yes.
wasn't like he was a bust at the end.
No. But the year they won the Super Bowl, he was not
did-
They
very
didn't
good.
win the
He
Super
was
Bowl
no
because of
defense
anything
won.
Peyton
No,
Manning did.
no.
By the way, do you know how hard it is to play with a neck fusion?
Well, I can't imagine you.
Like that. Like the fact that he even got that off. Like he was like when Brock Osweiler was coming in, he was having like numbness in his tricep and he couldn't get feeling in
Who,
his
Peyton?
Yeah. So you like if you have a fusion in your neck, like your arm, you have no like you don't have feeling in that.
I think I believe they're making a sequel to the movie Twins or a remake or something. Remember the
I
Twins?
think I saw that, yes.
And wouldn't that be funny if we had neck fusion twins, G. Bush and Peyton Manning? I'm watching that movie.
By the way, that would propel me to stardom.
That would?
I would be unusually good in that movie. They're like, you know
I
what?
think
I
you'd be
never
great.
knew it.
Who's running a faster 40-yard dash right now, G. Bush or Peyton Manning?
Ooh.
Wow.
I got my money on G. What you mean?
What'd you run back in the day?
Yeah, what was your quickest 40 time?
Listen, the 40s be getting lower. That's why I'm questioning in life right now. Everybody running 4.4 now. Everybody,
that's
the
for real.
linebackers, the fullbacks.
You got 300-pound linemen running 4.5.
I ran a 4.85 one time, but I got slower when I got in college. That's crazy. How's that happen?
You ran it in high school?
I ran in high school, got it slower
gain
in college.
weight?
Listen, they got two reconstructed knees.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
It's tough,
So
man.
you giving it to Peyton Manning? Come on,
I mean,
man.
he can't run that fast.
Look at him.
He could never run fast. I don't know that he ever ran a
It's
4.85.
a toss-up. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm
with
going to
you.
go with
Man,
you.
I watched Peyton Manning score a touchdown with the Broncos where
On
he
that
faked,
naked-
yeah,
yeah.
and it was the slowest touchdown run I've ever seen.
Yeah, but you know what? It was the most brilliant call
It
you've ever
was.
seen because
It was.
The defense, when they were checking off possibilities,
He's not
they didn't
gonna
even
run.
look at that one. We know Peyton isn't going naked to the left side.
But Eli's giving me that work though. I'm getting smoked by Eli. Like
Eli was low-key, and I know he's your favorite player of all time.
By Eli.
But Eli was a weird guy because whenever he would talk, I would just listen and say, there's no way this guy's ever winning a Super Bowl.
How does he get in the huddle and call the play?
I know he's so slow, and he just feels like he's not there half the time.
There was a whole thing at the A&M Pro Day in 2019, right before COVID. When they were running, I made the comment, I could beat Eli Manning in a 40-yard dash, which to this day I still think I could do blindfolded. And that turned into a running bit on the A&M beat. Whenever we had media members on and stuff, and we talked to players, other media members would ask, hey, do you think Mike could beat Eli Manning in a 40-yard dash?
But Eli was never fast.
He ran a 4.940.
Yeah, I mean, that's like...
I could beat that. And that's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah.
It was a slight on me, but then it turned into just a running bit of how fast they thought I could run. And it hurt my heart that anyone ever thought they could beat me.
Yeah, let's do your bet.
You want to do the bet for today?
It is. It's time for Bowls with Bet Rivers Bet of the Day. Hey, Ohio, Bet Rivers Sportsbook is the place to be for every single game, especially now with March Madness approaching. Now is the perfect time to join Bet Rivers Sportsbook. When you use deposit code SPORTS, you'll receive a second chance bet up to $500. Get in on all the action with weekly specials on your favorite sports like basketball and hockey to help you win big. Check out BetRivers.com. Download the BetRivers app today for the latest lines, odds, and boosts.
And check out today's podcast at Apple and Spotify and all those places as I talk about all the NFL transactions of the last 24 hours. All right, today's bet is in honor of the Sellers family. I'm going with Maryland women's hoops. So how about this? The NCAA had a rule, right, that I may be wrong on the exact number, but it was like if you are within, I think it was 350 miles of where you're playing, then you had to pay for your own travel. And if it's more than 350, the NCAA would reimburse you. Well, they raised it this year to 400. Now it might be 250 and 300.
Right. You're not
I
sure
think
of the
it's
number.
350, 400, but they raised it 50. And Holy Cross got screwed by that 50 extra mile jump. So they had to take a bus through bad weather. They're already a massive underdog because Maryland's one of the best teams in the country.
Right.
And Holy Cross plays in a small conference.
And what is this, a 15 and a 2?
15-2. And so not only are they way by, like, it's not even like women's basketball has gotten deeper over the years, but still the 15 seeds usually get destroyed by the 2s in women's hoops. Even in men's hoops, they often do. And Holy Cross had, again, this terrible travel situation.
Well, they do have the Holy Cross on their side.
They do.
So you
but
never know.
It won't be enough
to
face the youngest Sellers.
Taking it to the men's side, I think Kent State is like, ain't they 15 McNuggets? And
No, they're 14.
No,
They're 13 seed,
They're
and
13.
they're only 4.5-point
they
underdogs out of Indiana.
They might do it.
Yeah, but the men's tournament is deeper.
Well,
Now, the women's tournament has gotten deeper. It used to be if you weren't a top 2 seed, you had no shot.
But typically, the women's tournament chalk rules.
Especially
The upsets are rare and few and far
Yeah.
in a 7-10, okay.
Yeah,
But,
you
but
might see one there,
not
but you're
in
not
215.
No, the gap is way too
Now,
wide.
can they cover? We'll see. But I think with all the travel things.
And
they
now
have to
you're
go
like,
through-
what, 8 and 10?
Think I'm struggling. I would bet against me, honestly. You probably should bet on Holy Cross.
So maybe what you should start doing is make your pick and then flip it.
I think I almost did that today because I was like, the Cavs are going to lose back-to-back. I should take the Cavs. But I decided to go with this instead.
All right, very good.
Very good on the Cavs tonight, by the way. That's my tip.
We are going to take the under. We'll
yeah.
talk about the Cavs in just a little bit. Nice win last night. They took both in Charlotte, who seems to be just coasting to the finish line here. We'll get into the Cavs.
On 3.
We're gonna talk about. We're gonna do true or false. We're gonna do true or false.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Well, McNuggets is the reigning champ, so.
Oh, you
and he
won last
did
week?
it. He did it in my place, so therefore
Why is it
this
that every
season,
time McNuggets sits in, he wins?
It's the first time I've ever won.
I was saying it's only time
Oh,
he won.
I thought you'd won one another time.
That's from 2 weeks ago because we didn't play last week.
Oh, no, true or
'cause
false
we had a
last
We
week?
didn't play
Different game
without
that we
you.
played.
Nope. Oh, thanks, bro. I got your back.
I just wanted to hold the crown for
matter
one
with
more
you?
week.
It ain't like you gonna win. I gotta win today.
Yeah, there we go.
I gotta win today.
All right, let's
Jay's talking
talk
eye
moves.
trash right now.
You weren't here yesterday. They did nothing yesterday.
Not
The
at
Browns
all.
were pretty much took the day off.
It was kind of quiet overall
It
yesterday.
was super quiet. I mean,
Yeah.
we had the Waller trade, which was big.
Right.
And we'll talk about that. But I want you to weigh in on the moves that the Browns made on day one of the legal tampering period because you weren't here. So the re-signing of Taki,
love it.
I think everybody expected that was going to happen.
You know, that's
Ethan Posich, though. I think that caught a lot of folks by surprise. It caught me by surprise. What was your reaction?
Well, I mean, I thought the way he played last year, you had to keep a guy like that. You don't know how Nick Harris is going to be coming off of that ACL injury, so you got to have some insurance there. You know, if somebody goes down, you got two guys that's interchangeable, and worst case scenario, you got draft capital if it gets needs be with Ethan Posich. So I think it was a very good chess move by them to keep him.
All right.
Not only the knee with Nick Harris, but he hasn't been a starter. It's not like
That's true.
Yeah,
he's
no,
never
they
been a
were
starter before.
They in all of their comments on him, they say they're very comfortable
They
with
wanted
him.
him to be the
But
starter.
the fact that they went out and signed Ethan again tells me that either A, they don't think he's going to be fully ready, or B, they've been playing smoke and mirrors when they're saying, "Oh, we're ready to go."
Or C, Posich was just so good that they felt
that's what it was. I think
He
he overplayed what they thought he was going to be, and on top of that, he got the chemistry with Deshaun Watson for those last few.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with that. That's a great point.
And with bringing Posich back, I just want to say the Browns are officially out of the center market, which means Zeke Elliott is not on their radar when he gets cut later today.
Hey, there will be no Buckeye slander on this show, okay?
He is going to be out of work, though.
Zeke-
no
We'll talk
matter
about that
how.
in a little bit.
we don't
but
know
to make
that.
everyone know
We
the
don't know
Browns are
that.
out
All
of
right.
the center market.
Obo Okoronkwo is a guy
Impressive.
that really,
Say that
really.
one more time.
Obo Okoronkwo.
Obo Uncle One.
Nah, I
Okoronkwo.
Can't say that.
Young OG.
Now, I got to ask, because this is a guy who was dinged early in his career, really couldn't get through the starting rotation for the Rams, but was an active piece in their Super Bowl run, went to Houston last year on a prove-it deal, and now comes to the Browns. But when you look at his trajectory, the last 10, 11 weeks of last year, he was grading out as one of the best defensive linemen in the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you go off of. You get paid off of your production. And you got to think about this. This guy's going to be opposite of Miles. We need a guy who can be a game wrecker opposite of Miles. We got to run. We got a good guy who can stop the run with Alex Wright. He's pretty good against the run. But we need that pass rusher on third down. Everybody knows that Myles Garrett is going to be double-teamed, triple-teamed that time. If you got a one-on-one, we need a guy who can win one-on-ones. This guy has proven that he can be that guy. His athletic ability is all through the roofs. And like I said, last year he's forced the one forced fumble. He had 5 sacks, but he probably became the main guy on that Houston's D-line. Plus, Houston's D-line, they was running cover 2 anyway. So it wasn't a lot of thought that went into that.
I think that's exactly like Myles Garrett makes the job of the other defensive end easy, no matter who the player is.
Right.
So you take a guy who's young, who has upside, and who, as you said, is trending up. I mean, that seems to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, think about it.
Good.
And then they got the big guy in the middle.
Jadeveon Clowney's most productive year was back when he was in Houston. He had like 10.5 sacks or something like that. 1 year with Myles Garrett, he got 9, and that was later in his career. So Myles Garrett is going to get you the one-on-one matchup that you need. Just win it. That's all. That's all.
Have a guy that can win
just win the
those
matchup.
matchups. Now, what about Tomlinson? Because I think most agree, Bull, I don't want to speak for you guys. I think he's the big piece. Do you guys?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
Yeah, because that's the guy that you needed.
and that was their biggest weak spot on defense.
Right,
was
so they
defensive
plugged
tackle.
a hole.
Yeah, he's a
Pardon
3.
the pun, with
he
a
was
big guy.
playing the 3 technique last year, which means that he's pretty much in the B gap, so he should stop all of the B gap runs. In worst case scenario, he should be able to hold that up. Obviously, defensive tackle was a huge thing that we needed to fill anyways. I think they liked the way Perrion was playing. It kind of gives me concerned a little bit because that means you're going to really depend on Perrion to take that next step this year. This guy right here with 2.5 sacks, I mean, that's at a defensive tackle, that's pretty good. Like, because and 3 TFLs, that's okay. Obviously, you like to see more. Hopefully, if him and Myles is on the same side, then Myles will take up a lot of attention. He could be able to make those plays. It's like I say, Myles is really making it easy on a lot of people. I mean, you hear all these defensive
But he didn't
tackles.
last year.
What?
Make it easy on a lot of people.
He did. They just didn't win.
Well, yeah, he's going to take up a lot of attention, but I was stunned at the lack of production from everyone else on the defensive line. When you typically, you're right, when you have one of the top 3 edge rushers in the game, you expect that other guys are just going to get to feast off table scraps.
Yeah.
But we really didn't see that.
And it goes to show you, well, first of all, the run game was atrocious, and people figured that out. You getting blown off the ball. An edge rusher can't do anything.
Right.
I'm not saying Miles is the greatest at stopping the run if he's in pass mode all the time. Like J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt, one of the best DNs, but in his mind, it was pass every play for him. So he's shooting up the field. They going underneath it, then it's nothing you can do about that.
You better have run support on the backside to help.
And that's what Tomlinson should bring in. Hopefully, they get that linebacker situation figured out as well.
How do you grade what's been done so far?
Well, defensive tackle was a need and DN was a need. So as far as a need standpoint, I think these guys are B pluses. They're not the big names, but they're very productive.
Yeah.
So these guys can trend with the help of Myles Garrett. They can turn into A caliber.
Were you
players.
disappointed that they couldn't work a deal with Jones?
Yeah, I got to
Did you text him yet?
I texted him. I got to, he probably, I don't know what he's doing, but he needs to hit me back. Draymond, hit me back. I got to know what happened.
When you,
I gotta know.
You give him all the hot spots in Seattle.
I got to know.
You give him a B+. I gave him a B+ yesterday. You guys were in the B range as well.
Yeah.
I think, again, I mentioned this yesterday. We all understand the Browns, like a lot of teams, have a lot of moves to make. The whole offseason, people panic. There's still a lot of guys available.
Yeah.
All right.
And a lot of time available.
And a lot of time available. People, the whole. Somebody said to me today, "I can't believe it. What a disastrous offseason for the Bengals so far." I said, we haven't even officially started free agency.
That's what I said.
Von Bell is the only guy I really care that they lost. It's not a disaster. And right now I give the Bengals the benefit of the doubt because they've done a really good job the last few years. But I got to see what happens.
You got to hate that they lost Bates, right?
They wasn't going to play him.
I knew he was
going. But just in terms of, I wouldn't call it disastrous, but you want to keep everybody intact.
They drafted a safety in the first round last year.
Right.
Now, who knows how good he is.
Right.
But I knew Bates was gone. I wanted to keep Von Bell. I thought they were going to lose Pratt. They kept him. Losing Samaje Perine and Hayden Hurst are completely replaceable players.
Those are guys.
You can't panic. And I get it. I know the Browns need certain things, but they've addressed two needs.
Yeah.
They have other things they got to do. We all know that. But, especially the wide receiver market, it hasn't moved that much.
No, very little. I mean, did anybody – I know Waller was traded, but – really, on day one, there was really only one, maybe two.
Jacoby Myers,
that was
Alan Lazard.
And Alan Lazard.
You're right.
Those are the two notable wide receivers.
I don't even think they that good.
Well,
Jacoby Myers?
When you take a look at what's available, that's the cream of the crop.
They're both solid receivers.
Yeah, I mean,
They're both better, I think, than Donovan Peoples-Jones, but not that much.
While we're talking Jets, by the way, later today, Aaron Rodgers is
going on McAfee.
Going on McAfee, which I think is a surprise to no one, and he's going to make the announcement.
We don't know for sure that he's going to make the announcement. We assume.
I'm pretty sure he's going to do it.
I'd be surprised.
He did tell the Packers that he wasn't going to hold them hostage through the free agent period. Technically, the free agent period starts today.
At 4 p.m.
So any deal that's been made can be backed out of.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
It can be.
The expectation is that he's going to the Jets. I love this. You have the hammer when you can tell a team, this is my shopping list.
That's terrible.
By the way, OBJ is on that shopping list. I need you to go out and acquire these players, and then you have a chance.
Look at that. Lazard, Cobb, OBJ, Mercedes Lewis.
Cobb
and Lewis aren't going to cost anything.
I'm not signing them.
What the hell's OBJ wearing there?
It's probably Versace.
It looked like a Spades. Looked like an ace of Spades.
You're not signing Odell? I said this.
No, I said I'm not signing Cobb or Lewis. I'll sign Odell. I'm not signing
those guys are costing minimum money, so I don't think that matters. But if I were I said this yesterday. If I were the Jets, I'd tell them to go stick it up as you know what.
I agree.
I'd go.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's right. You know what? I don't know where you guys sit on this. I am so through with Aaron Rodgers.
So
drama.
sick of Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, it's really I know he said he wasn't going to hold them hostage, but he's hijacking the Packers organization.
Yeah.
The expectations are that he's going to play and he's going to play for the Jets. But imagine if he comes out and says, "I'm done."
If I'm the Jets, I would just
possible.
If I were the Jets, I would have gone all in on Lamar Jackson.
I would have went in on Lamar too.
See, this is the problem. This is the problem when you the Jets. When you screw up and you make bad decision after bad decision.
Well, in fairness to them, outside of quarterback, which is the biggest miss, they've done a lot of smart things.
But
they've drafted great.
Listen, last year they had the offensive rookie and NFL defensive rookie.
None of that matters
if you don't have the quarterback.
Zachary Wilson.
That's true.
That's true.
But I don't think Aaron Rodgers is the answer.
He's an answer for 1 year.
I don't even know if he's the answer for 1 year.
No, he's the answer for
No,
you.
he can play.
He didn't have a good season this past year.
No, but
Because his receivers was dropping a lot of balls.
His receivers weren't great either. But
The Jets don't have great receivers.
Yes,
they
do.
They have one.
They got 2.
Well, they signed Lazard now.
No, they got Elijah Morris, really good.
He's not
Moore,
great. They're talking about
Wilson.
trading him.
Yeah, because he wasn't getting the ball because Zach Wilson couldn't get it to him. I would have wanted out
And
too.
who was the one that popped off about? No.
Corey
that
Davis.
was the Ravens.
Denzel Mill.
I'm thinking about the Ravens wide receiver that popped off about the front
Rashad
office.
Bateman.
One thing that's interesting to me, I thought of this yesterday. It's funny how Aaron Rodgers and his career is so similar to Brett Favre. They each won 1 Super Bowl. They each got red when the organization drafted a new quarterback for what they thought was too soon. Remember, Rodgers was drafted when Brett Favre was in his early to mid-30s.
Right.
He was red about that. Aaron Rodgers got upset when they drafted Jordan Love.
Right.
And then both went to the Jets. Well, if he goes to the Jets, Brett Favre ended up going to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers may end up going to the Jets.
Aaron Rodgers making a
Their
mistake.
careers are incredible.
Aaron Rodgers need to go to San Francisco and win a ring. And
Did
then
both
go
of
here
them?
Rodgers.
I agree with you.
Did both of them rip off a state government using illegal funds?
No,
only
but
Favre?
Aaron Rodgers was wackadoo enough that I think he qualified
He
for
could.
being equally nuts.
He was able to
that's
get
true.
away. He was able to not get vaccinated and follow the vaccinated protocols.
I know.
That was bizarre.
That was weird.
So that was.
And you know what? New York isn't going to love that, by the way. New York was you don't step foot in our state unless you got 8 needles in your arm.
What was the word he said? He's immunized. What did he say?
Yeah, he did say I'm immunized, which he later said, well, that could have meant I have natural immunization from it.
But you couldn't possibly
That guy
know.
is hilarious, man.
Well, the whole
So,
thing.
guys, let's get back to the
bizarre.
Browns, though.
Yeah.
We now know some details on the contracts for both Obo
Good
and
work by you on
Tomlinson.
this, by the way.
Shout out to the internet and Over the Cap website for
Over the Cap's
having that.
the best
Yeah,
site
shout
out
out to
there.
them. For anyone who doesn't know, Steve, let's pull up. We'll start with where you're at, 135 real quick. We'll give you a current cap overview for the Browns.
Right.
So the Pochich deal is still pending, so we don't know the exact numbers. So what we do know is that they have about 11 million-ish in cap space.
But I have a
before
question for
Pochich.
you.
Yes.
Okay, that's with none of Pochich's
That's
money.
none of
on there.
Pochich's money.
We can safely assume it's going to be in the $6 million range, right?
Guaranteed, give or take ish, because
'Cause it was 3 for
18 million
18.
over 3 years.
Right,
so-
but the cap hit by year could be
Right, I know.
more as they go.
All I'm saying, it
Yeah.
could be 4, 5, and 9.
Sure.
Typically, that's the way some of these deals are
Right,
structured. But I
right.
think we're
It's a lot
safe
of how
to
Berry
assume.
structures his deal. They're backloaded.
They're
We'll
all-
see with Tomlinson
Right,
and
exactly.
with Ogbo.
So I would say if you're going to guess, I would say it's probably 4, 5, and 9.
yeah, probably.
One way or another, it's safe to assume that it's in the 6 range. So that brings the Browns' cap space to 5 without these other restructurings that we're
Right.
expecting to happen.
Right, which
Correct?
they'll do if they need
Yes,
to.
which they'll do if they need to. So
Yeah.
we
Right.
broke into Tomlinson's contract. Steve, you can take this full here. In 2023, for this upcoming year, he's a $4.35 million cap hit. In 2024, it jumps up to 6.5. In 25 and 26, it takes a massive skyrocket up to 19.5, which is about 27.5 million total guaranteed. But they can't cut him after 2 years if he's not playing at the rate of a $19 million defensive tackle. The dead cap money they'd hit in 25 is $5 million. It'd be about $12 million in 26.
Very
which is a lot
punitive.
A lot of dead cap money, but it's also less than 19, which is what you'd be
You know
paying
what,
him.
Yeah,
in
but
4
that
years.
is a huge hit. Like if he doesn't work out and you cut him
It's a
after
big
2
hit.
years, you are paying a ton of dough.
Right.
For
Well,
dead
But
space.
what I do
Yeah.
like is that they listen to. Remember, Sheldon Richardson came from the Vikings.
Right.
He was productive here, right?
I liked
he
him.
was.
Yeah.
So they went back to where somebody was productive at defensive tackle, and they went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I thought there'd be more connections to Philadelphia with
Yeah,
Schwartz.
And there still may be.
And there might be, yeah.
You know.
Still available
Fletcher Cox.
is Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
And I think everybody is safely assuming that it's the end of the road for Ndamukong Suh, right? Does anybody think he's going to play again?
I don't know.
based on what he did last year.
He gonna wait till let's see who gonna go to the Super Bowl, and then he gonna jump on. Later.
It was odd. Before he had signed with Philadelphia, he had tweeted out randomly after Nebraska had fired its coach that he would take that job. Yeah, I'll just go from the sidelines of the NFL right to coaching a major Big Ten program.
He'd be respected.
He'd be respected, but
I don't know how
I don't know if you're going to bring in a guy that's had zero coaching experience.
What you mean?
Colts
the Colts did it.
Yeah. By the way, a friend of mine ran into Jeff Saturday at the airport, and my friend beat him for a cab. Jeff Saturday lost again.
Was it on the Saturday?
That was cheesy, but he did.
Yeah, that fell
short.
I'm trying to think where he was going. Like
that
maybe
fell
there was
way
more.
short. But my friend did actually run into him in the airport.
You a jerk. You ain't saved that man on that one. You could have jumped in all the other damn time.
That was one of my top 5 worst jokes of all time.
Yeah, clip
Speaking
that.
of random Jeffs real quick, the USFL's coming back. Jeff Fisher's going to join us again. Jeff Fisher told the USFL people that on last year's media circuit, his most enjoyable interview was with us.
Of course it was.
Because of
all
my
his
jokes,
interviews.
especially.
We had a blast with him.
And he's going to come in studio
Jeff
this year.
Fisher.
Oh, he will. So
Vision.
is he coaching one of the teams that will play
When
all
they
of
play
its games in
Canton,
Canton?
they're going to come in. We got a whole deal. USFL, we're back with them in April. I'll tell you guys off air.
Yeah,
the
I
details
heard
of that.
yesterday about that,
So,
which is good
should be
news.
fun.
Yeah.
And y'all asking
Okay,
about Vision.
So I had a question for you on that. You said that they get $9.75 million in cap space after they cut JJ3. Is that baked into that number already?
No.
Good.
That happens on June 1st. They get that cap space back.
Excellent.
So they
Okay.
had, after, just to clear everything up, after restructuring Watson's contract, they had about $19 million to use, give or take.
Right.
The 3 deals, Tomlinson, Taki, and
Pocic.
no, not Pocic. Okoronkwo. Oh, 007.
Obo. Just call him Obo.
007, yeah.
007.
Those 3 are about $8 million in totality, so they have about 11 left to work with before Pocic. Then you take Pocic's 4, 5, 6.
Again, I don't think we need to obsess on the number because they can restructure with a number of other guys if they need to.
Well,
But I'm saying they're getting the almost $10 million from John Johnson added on in a little bit anyway. So they really have.
I don't know about a little bit. June 1st is not that close.
No, but they could do a deal and they could pen it to June 1st, so they could sign somebody.
Sure.
And
Sure.
So roughly, we're sitting between 13 and 17, depending
Somewhere
on,
in that range,
how the
correct.
Pocic deal is. And if they restructure the deals that we think they're going to restructure,
Right.
which Chubb would be among them, I would guess.
Wyatt Teller.
And there
You
was
could do
one
it-
other one that I thought for sure.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper.
Njoku, yes.
You just wait on these because you don't do it unless you have to, right?
Right,
So they're not going to necessarily, but because it just pushes back cap hits into later years.
What move has to be made that hasn't been made?
Wide receiver.
The wide receiver's the one.
I think slam dunk. Do we do that via trade? Because there's not a lot left in the free agent pile.
Yeah.
I think the 2 best wide receivers have already signed.
Well, Juju
2 of the best.
Smith-Schuster
Yeah,
is
2
as
of
good
the
as
best.
those
I don't know
guys,
that. Does anybody want to get into business with Juju?
I don't, but
I don't either.
He's as good, if not better, than those guys, I think.
Yeah, from a
But I don't
player's-
want him. I don't want him.
Yeah, I don't think we want to welcome
There's
that
nobody
in.
in free agency right now that I want.
Okay, so we're going to address that one of 2 ways, either via trade,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of guys that are out there that could be had. Brandon Cooks. I think Judy could be moved from Denver.
Judy makes a lot of sense.
I think Judy makes a lot of sense too. The more I
don't
think
know why
about it,
the
I want
Broncos
either
wanna trade
Brandon
him.
Cooks or Judy. I don't either. I don't either, particularly when you're trying to rehabilitate.
I don't think he's on the board like that.
I think Cortland Sutton on the
Yeah,
board.
he might be on
Yeah,
the board.
well, I
don't
heard
think
both
he-
were.
I've heard both are too, but I don't.
Cortland Sutton even tweeted
don't
out.
believe that. I don't believe
he
Judy.
tweeted out. I just want to be somewhere where I'm appreciated.
Yeah. It's their number 1 receiver. He's young. Like
Judy's younger though.
way younger. Like he's a better player than Sutton. You coming out, you got Russell Wilson. You got to have him throw the ball to somebody. I don't understand why he's even on the trade block to begin with.
He's not. It would be Cortland Sutton because they'll feel that they getting Tim Patrick back, and Tim Patrick was very productive when he was there. He just obviously was hurt last year, and you got to keep Jerry Jeudy because as bad as Russell Wilson was, they had some connection at the end of the year, him and Jeudy. So there's no way that they get rid of Jeudy.
So do we address it with a trade, or do we roll the dice where we haven't had a lot of success at this position with the draft?
I hate if the listen, it may turn out, so it may be unfair to be critical, but if the only thing the Browns do at wide receiver is the draft, I'm going to look at that, at least going into the season, as a huge disappointment.
I would second that.
You setting yourself up. The way these cards is falling, a lot of people want to just be like, I'm not doing that. Okay, well, look. I mean, there's a guy out there, Odell Beckham Jr., and if I look at the trade market, everybody don't want DeAndre Hopkins. If you can't get Brandon Cooks and you really not really high on Hunter Renfrow, you got a couple options.
I would rather trade for Cortland Sutton than sign Odell.
No. Cortland Sutton?
Guys, Odell can't stay on the field.
Cortland Sutton?
Now, Cortland Sutton can't really stay on the field either.
And he's not even a good player.
I keep bringing his name up. I've done it probably 3 times in the last week. But Hunter Renfrow is a guy that I think they need to really kick the tires on.
And for me,
I know you're not high on him, but
I just think they need a top 20 receiver. This is not a top 20
This is
receiver.
what
what was his best year with the Raiders?
2 years ago.
Probably 2 years ago.
I know he had 1,000 yards.
All I'm going to say is this.
Close to it.
Hunter Renfrow is one of those receivers that
would be nice.
He's pesky, man.
If you ask any DB or linebacker of my ethnicity, they'll give him his respect because that dude right there.
Right, but he's not a top 20 guy.
He like that on the route side.
His best season was 2021. He played all 17 games, had 103 receptions, 1,038 yards, and 9 touchdowns.
I'm taking that. I would take that in a heartbeat.
I just don't think he a burner.
That's not special.
Let's put some respect on
100
his
catches,
name.
1,000 yards,
1,000
and 9
yards in a
touchdowns?
17-game season
What?
is not special.
Cleveland,
It is special.
What Cleveland Brown has had 100 anything? I'll wait.
Or 1,000.
Or 1,000 anything. I'll
Or
wait.
9.
Amari Cooper.
That's
All
it.
these
Okay,
guys
he
were
was
talking.
right at that level last
All
year.
these other guys we're talking about have had multiple 1,000-yard seasons. So
But you don't want them either.
Yes, I do.
You don't want Odell
I want
Beckham?
Cooks. I'd take Sutton.
If you can't,
I'd take
But
Judy.
isn't Cooks like 32 or something like that?
I'd rather
How old
have
is
It
Cooks?
seems like it because he's played for 40 teams.
I swear, how old is he?
He's not. I don't
Cooks
think he's
is
30.
29.
Yeah, I would say he's under 30.
if you cannot,
Cooks, he's 29. He turns 30 in September.
I'm asking,
wow.
if
Yeah.
you can't get Cooks,
Right?
what are you doing?
Then I'm trying to get Judy. Well, first I'm trying to get Judy.
So,
If he can't trade him, then I'm going for Cooks.
So let me
If I
ask-
can't trade him, then I'm going for Sutton.
well, the problem is if you get Judy, you got to come with a contract because his contract is
Okay,
coming up.
so I
but the
backload
thing-
that.
But the Cooks thing, if you trade for Cooks, is his contract is that doable?
I think so.
They would have
we
to.
We had looked at it before. It wasn't huge. I don't
No,
think
but
it's
they
huge.
would have to do some because there's some cap trickiness from a Texans perspective.
Maybe, yeah.
For trading
I
him.
haven't looked that deeply into it. All I know is there's also familiarity, which counts for something. Especially if you, I really want to know what Deshaun Watson thinks. If I'm the Browns, I'm asking Deshaun Watson, which of the two that you've thrown the ball to between Renfrow and Cooks are you most excited about throwing the ball to again? Let him weigh in on
I'd be
this.
shocked if he said Renfrow over Cooks.
I don't know. They were a hell of a combo in college.
That was like 7 years ago.
But it's still it's like when a pitcher and a catcher have worked together, and then one of them gets traded and they're apart for 5 years, but when they come back, they all say the same thing.
How was Derek Carr and
I turned back the
Devontae
clock 5
Adams
years.
last year?
What's that?
How was Carr and Adams last year?
Very good.
Well, you know what? I almost throw out everything that happened in Vegas last year.
I just
It
don't.
was such a mess, Tom.
I don't think Hunter Renfrow's any better than Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Wow, now that's
don't
some.
think he is.
That's crazy.
I
talk
agree
right
with
there.
Bull.
That's
What's that?
y'all crazy.
What's Donovan Peoples-Jones'
Y'all
best
is
year
crazy.
again?
This year,
And give me his numbers.
Stop it, bro.
Steve, it's number 26
you
and
got
7.
y'all got to cut that out.
Yeah, that's absurd,
That's
guys.
y'all got to cut
That's
that
absurd.
out.
You can't
Y'all,
slot
because
guy.
y'all don't.
It's
One
not
guy
apples
had
to
Jacoby
apples.
Brissett throwing to
What's
him.
his
The other
most
guy had Derek
productive-
Carr, a
what's
much
his
better
most
quarterback.
productive-
Is he that much better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah,
listen, bro. This is the thing I would say. Y'all, you know what? This is what I'll say.
Go ahead and tell 'em.
I'll compare it to this.
They overestimate the dudes on the roster. Go
listen.
ahead.
Wait a second. I'm not saying he's that good. I'm saying Hunter Renfrow's not that good.
This is what I'm gonna
Hunter
say.
Renfrow's
This is
definitely better
what
than
this is
him.
what I'm gonna say.
Come on.
Because this is as close as I could try to get it in a comparable sense for y'all.
Yeah.
But we got Odell Beckham. This town went crazy.
We did.
Odell Beckham was not that productive. We got Amari Cooper. Everybody's like, But you know what? Amari Cooper run them routes and get that separation. Guess what Hunter Renfrow good at? Running them routes and getting that
His
separation.
best
Y'all
year.
are not paying attention to
Is he
how
a top 20
important
wide receiver?
route running
Is
is.
he a top 20 wide receiver?
What top 20 wide receivers available?
Yeah, of all the guys we're mentioning,
At
none
least-
of them
Yeah,
are.
none of them.
Brandon
What do you-
Cooks is at the back
No,
end.
No,
no, he's not.
No, he's
Stop
not.
it.
Not anymore.
Cut it out.
Yes, he is.
No, he's
Come
not.
on.
No.
I'm just saying you're
Is he
not
better than Hunter Renfrow? Yes,
Brandon
he is.
Cooks.
Yes. Not even close.
I would take the yeah.
Of course.
But that's not the point. What I'm saying is you're not paying attention to how important route running is. The separation that he creates. He got an and one mixtape on DB.
Unlike most people, I was excited when they traded for Amari Cooper. Hunter Renfrow ain't Amari Cooper. He's a decent player.
He runs great routes.
Nothing special about him.
The only reason he was bad last year because he was hurt for the majority
His
of
best
the year.
year is a year we considered crappy for Odell.
So here's the thing, man.
1,000 yards is not a great accomplishment.
100
in the
It's
NFL.
still the
100 catches is. 100 catches
100 catches ain't it.
100 catches is nice.
He got that.
But he only had 1,000 yards. That's not a great season.
He's a slot receiver.
I've always
That's what
thought
I'm saying. This is out of the slot we talking about. This is the slot, not the X or the Z. We're talking about
in 1 year,
the slot.
He did it once on a team that threw the ball because their defense sucked. All they did was throw the ball.
Question, Mike McNuggets, real quick, while they talking. Can you give me Judy's numbers from last season? Just curious.
Judy's, yeah. And while I'm looking that up, I do want to say, although Renfrow has more catches and yards than DPJ, he had 43 more targets that year than DPJ had this year, and DPJ averaged 5 more yards per catch.
Well, guess what?
That's good. That means he was open.
Different players.
They might have sailed the ball over his head. But they threw
Renfrow,
the
who
ball
only
his
had
way.
200 more yards, was playing with a much better
And
quarterback.
Donovan Peoples-Jones has 3 touchdowns because he can't separate.
You want this year's numbers?
Come on, man.
Judy?
Yeah, what was his number?
67 receptions, 972 yards, 6 touchdowns.
He had
Nice
more-
season. Nice. Not great. Nice.
And that's all out of the slot.
Judy?
Yeah.
Oh, that
No,
was
he put it on
Jerry
the
Judy.
outside.
That was Jerry Judy, right?
Yeah, that was
Jerry
Judy. What are you
Wait,
talking about?
You want Renfro's numbers this year or Judy?
No,
Judy said
I wanted Judy's number.
Renfrow was
Judy.
awful this year.
He only played like
Renfrow was
6
hurt.
games. I only know that because he was on my fantasy team and he pissed me off.
Yeah, but even in those games, he didn't do anything.
No, he didn't.
Well, the Raiders were a mess this
They
year.
got rid of that quarterback.
Yeah,
They
I
had a
mean,
brand new coach.
That's true because the Broncos were in great shape.
Well, I'm not talking about the Broncos right now. I'm just talking about the Raiders. The Raiders were terrible.
Listen, hold on. To be fair with the Broncos, they was down by like 21 points, so it turned into a 7-on-7.
At the end of the day,
And the Raiders weren't?
No, I don't think so.
This is
they
why-
had the lead
I mean, Devontae
rusher.
Adams still had a good season.
They had the NFL leader rusher.
This is why I love pressure, because we talk all this BS about who's better and who ain't. Go ahead and go into the season and you ain't got 2 new receivers. Everybody going anyway. So, like, we can sit up here. He's not that good. I don't like him because
But
he's
gee,
older.
you're saying that as if I'm saying I don't want any of these guys. I do. I just don't want Hunter Renfrow.
But when you talk,
I'll take any of them.
If Hunter Renfrow is the best addition they make at wide receiver, I'm fine if you brought in Hunter Renfrow as your third one. You want to replace DPJ with Hunter Renfrow?
No.
I'm just saying in
Wait,
theory.
nobody said
I'm
that.
just saying in theory. If you're telling me Hunter Renfrow is going to be your number 2 receiver, I'm saying that's not good
I've
enough.
said from the beginning they need 2 receivers. And when you say no to this guy,
Hunter Renfrow had 330 yards in 10 games last year. He sucked ass.
and Cortland Sutton is who?
Well, I'm not dying for Cortland Sutton.
I'm just
but
saying.
I'd rather have them than Hunter Renfrow.
I would not.
Why would you rather have Cortland
That
Sutton?
have showed you nothing.
No. The question is because Cortland Sutton is an X or a Z. You don't have nobody in the slot, so DPJ gonna play the slot?
Whoa, now you think we have to get a slot receiver?
Yes,
we must.
That's the whole point.
I don't agree. I don't think it has to be a slot receiver.
How do you can't play with 2 X's?
Well, who's going to play the slot?
Now you gonna have, the problem we got on
You're
defense?
asking for DeAndre Hopkins. He ain't a slot receiver.
Here's what I'm telling you. If DeAndre Hopkins comes, Donovan Peoples-Jones is peace.
Okay, fine.
But my thing,
I'm saying if the Browns can get a good X receiver, I don't care if he's good
they
enough.
got an X.
They got one. So what I'm saying is
Well, you're asking for DeAndre Hopkins.
No.
I told you I would trade for I trade DPJ for Deion, but y'all shot me down.
Listen, I'm telling you.
I would
listen,
too.
Well, why would you do that? I would trade DPJ too in part of a trade. I'm not stuck with him. I'm just saying he's okay.
All I'm saying is you need a slot receiver. You got Bell and Schwartz. You want to roll with them?
Of course not.
Okay, so what we said
That's your
is
slot.
Right, but if I can
And you
get,
got
if I
Michael
can get
Wood.
another outside receiver, if the best guy I can get is another outside receiver, then I'll go get that outside receiver and then do whatever the hell with DPJ.
So you would be fine with DeAndre Hopkins then, because he would be better.
I'd rather get DeAndre Hopkins than Hunter Renfrow. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think I would too. But
So
I
we
don't-
rolling David Bell.
Yeah, but that's like saying, give me the Mercedes 7 Series over the Jag. We can't, and we get caught up in this all the time. We always think, and you brought this up, when OBJ came over, it was the name. It's it. People were printing their Super Bowl tickets. They were dancing in the streets. I'd never seen Browns fans dance in the streets over a move before, but they were, and he failed. I know that we
By the way,
caught
he
up
failed,
with the
had
name.
a 1,000-yard season. We're calling that a fail. Hunter Renfrow were singing, throwing raises at
How many
Convince me that
how many touchdowns did he have?
Yeah, convince me it wasn't a failure.
I think it was, but
Okay.
you made it seem like 1,000 yards. You said 1,000 yards is a great
how many
season.
touchdowns
From
did Renfrow
OBJ,
have?
what we expected. So our
But
expectations
you just said
are
1,000 yards is a great season.
He had
I'm saying it's not.
He had
The new line is 1,200 to
It
me.
is, but there's different. You have different bars for different guys.
I thought Hunter Renfrow had 9
I
touchdowns.
expected OBJ to light
Agreed.
the world
But
on
the bottom
fire.
line is $1,000 yards is not a great
No,
season.
1,000 yards with 9 touchdowns.
That's
is really
crazy.
good.
And 100 catches.
And 100 catches.
That means
That's
you're moving
absurd.
the sticks.
That's crazy.
You're moving the
compared to 3 from DPJ.
That's crazy.
Different quarterback, different team.
Oh, here we go.
Different quarterback.
That was
Is
great.
that not
Who?
true?
That's a
Hunter
really good,
Renfrow?
That's a good yard.
Okay, that's a
season.
great stat.
That's a great season.
51 of Hunter Renfro's catches were for first downs.
That's a great. He balled that.
That's Brian Brennan territory.
That's
don't want him, huh?
no. That is Wes Welker territory.
That's Wells Welker,
you
but
don't.
That-
You listen
but I
to
mean,
them
it's-
stats
And it's
like
1
it
year.
ain't that
His other
bad.
3 years, he did nothing.
well, he was hurt last year. We all know
Okay,
that.
so that's part of the deal.
And who was throwing the ball to him last year? They didn't even know who their quarterback was.
Derek Carr, who's better than what the Browns had.
Carr was not the quarterback for the second half of the season.
Yes, it was only like 4 games that Stidham played.
Okay, so they count.
Jared
still
Stidham
count.
almost beat the 49ers.
Here's the thing,
The
guys.
Raiders had a better quarterback than the Browns did last year.
We want to get.
That's true.
We want to get
Jay, is
the
that
big
not true though?
What?
Derek Carr's better than Jacoby Brissett, isn't that? I mean, it's not even close, honestly.
In theory.
In theory.
I mean, when I watched
What
it
did
with my
Devontae
eyes,
Adams do last year?
everything was going Devontae Adams last year.
He got
I think
Devontae
what happened
Adams
last
He's
year
the
was
guy that if you just put it in his vicinity. First of all, he gonna be so wide open that it
Here's the
shouldn't be that
bottom line.
hard.
We've been talking about the Browns' offense needs to be dynamic. You got all these teams that have these star pass catchers.
right.
Hunter Renfrow doesn't move the needle. That's it. He's fine.
The guys that
He
you
doesn't
want,
move the
though,
needle.
Bull, to move the
Yeah.
needle, how are we going to afford them?
What do you mean, how are we going to afford them? How does everybody else afford them? You pay them. There's always ways around the cap. We've already discussed this.
Right, but right now we're sitting at between, we think around 5 to
Irrelevant.
to 15.
Is
It's not
Renfrow
irrelevant.
It's irrelevant because
It's
you
not-
can restructure.
it's not irrelevant
It's
because-
completely irrelevant
Wait a
because
minute.
you have contracts
Is,
to
he
restructure.
is Hunter Renfrow a free agent or you got
Renfro
No.
is a free agent, correct?
Oh, no.
Right.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of buzz out of the market right now.
Oh, well, so
else-
is everybody
who
else. What about
is?
OBJ?
I didn't say he's getting any buzz.
Well,
I don't want him either.
but now you're sounding like the fans that you're criticizing because nothing's happened yet. Like, we got
that was just making fun of Renfrow.
Okay. we got to pump the brakes on it. I think the bottom line is we all want different guys at wide receiver. So there's not that one obvious answer that's going to be our guy.
I just want to slide.
We do need a slot.
I want a slot wide receiver I like Renfrow because he does really good routes, but I like Cooks because you can just throw Cooks a screen and he can take the thing. Like you need
And he
somebody,
can take the top off
Yeah,
the
you need
defense.
somebody to stretch the field. I'd be fine with either or.
They said yesterday on the NFL Network, and I almost spit out my drink, that Donovan Peoples-Jones is a defense stretcher. I've never really.
Who said that?
They said that on the NFL Network yesterday. They were talking about the Browns receiving core.
He catches fades, but the thing is he doesn't create separation. It's always a contested thing, which he does
Right.
well. He wins the 50-50
Yeah, he
balls
does
a
win
lot.
that.
He can win those balls, and he did have some nice downfield catches last year, but I wouldn't put him solidly in the category of stretching the defense.
But this man, he did run a 4. I think he ran a 4.4 in this combine.
Man, he doesn't play that.
He's a
fast to
4.5,
me.
Ty.
It was a 4.5.
Yeah.
Who? DPJ.
DPJ was at the combine.
I gotta go.
All right, what do you got?
Real quick, I got 2 things I got to mention. You guys said Devontae Adams with the Raiders last year. I just looked up his stats because I was curious. You want to know how absurd his season was last year?
Crazy.
Was.
He was targeted 180 times.
Well, and that's to the detriment of
180
everybody else in that
targets.
offense.
He had
That's-
100 receptions, 1,500 yards, 14 touchdowns, and on those 100 receptions, 65 first downs, which is just silly.
Crazy.
We did a poll question, though. Whenever we do a poll question, it's brought to us by our good friends over at PCC Air Force. Are you looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? Well, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. We put up a poll.
By the way,
for 10
guys,
minutes,
Hunter
real quick.
Renfrow is not a free agent.
Yes, he is.
He is not.
No, I think we've been talking about a trade with him all along.
He is not
and
a free
Brandon
agent.
Cooks.
By the way, DPJ
and Brandon Cooks.
DPJ ran a 4.48, which means that Tyvis Powell is faster than him at the combine. But that's
Because I
What
just
was your
saw
40
this.
time? I don't know that I've ever asked you that.
I just saw, Mike. There's a tweet from Joel Corey, who's like a
4.46.
former agent, who says Hunter Renfrow's $4.32 million third day of the 2023 league year roster bonus, March 17th, becomes fully guaranteed 5 days after he signed his contract extension last June. Became fully guaranteed.
Gotcha. Well, that's wrong on us. You got
So
trade
he's
for
not a
Renfrow.
free agent.
Yeah, no,
But real quick, we do
he
have a
and
poll.
Cooks are both trade. You got to trade for
candidates,
them.
yes.
But his name has been mentioned a lot as a guy that is.
I don't think they're
Can
going to
be
trade
had
him
in
after
a
trading.
trade.
After trading Waller, I don't think they're going to trade him. But
Real
I was
quick,
surprised they
even-
traded Waller and only got a third for him.
We're going to talk about that in 1 sec, but I got to get these poll results in because we did
Yeah.
ask for PCC. We asked, and in 550 votes, which receiver would you want the most? Who's the best receiver of these four? Judy, DPJ, Cooks, and Renfrow. Judy with 38%, Cooks 33%, DPJ 23%, Renfrow 5%.
Yeah, nobody knows Renfrow. Nobody understands it. I mean, I shouldn't say nobody. Tyvis does.
Well, he's at best he's third on that list. I mean, it's either third or fourth between him and DPJ.
But the poll got it wrong with only 5% saying Hunter Renfrow.
Wait, what was the question?
well,
How would you?
No, the poll got it
which
right.
of
He
these
said-
receivers are the
the
what
best.
you asked to rank them in the
You're
terms of
you're
the best
right,
receiver,
Jay. They did
right?
get it
Best,
wrong. It
yes.
should have been 0% because there's no argument for him being the best of those four.
No,
I agree.
you're
DPJ should have had 0% also.
I
You're
agree with
essentially
that, too.
ranking the four.
I know, but they both should have had 0% because nobody should have voted for either of them.
I
So-
agree. It should have been Judy or Cooks.
Judy or Cooks is the only.
Yes. However, I just think it's so easily dismissed that you're taking a guy that hit the benchmarks. I think it's 10, 100, and 1,000. Those to me, those are it's always. I know it's 17 games
17
now.
games, 1,000 is not
It's
a benchmark anymore.
Is it for rushing?
Yes.
No.
It is.
No.
it really is.
I don't look at it that way.
Well,
This is
maybe you don't.
This is the thing that we looking past. What we need is a guy who can win one-on-one matchups. That's at the end of the day, the Browns were not good against one-on-one matchups.
They were not.
That's
They
it.
were not.
You need who can out of those four names, who can consistently win
Judy and
one-on-one
Cooks.
matchups?
And by the way, I mean,
at the end of the day, that's who you go get.
and if you can tell me that you're going to add a receiver that you can just about book is going to get you 60 yards per game, I don't know how many times last year the Browns
Who
had
can you book is
multiple
gonna get 60
receivers.
yards per game?
What's that?
Who can you book?
Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Well, no.
More than
A
that.
1,000 yard season, guys, is 60 yards a game, roughly. It's like 59 or something. I think it's 59 yards a game. If you can guarantee me that your number 2 or number 3 receiver is going to get 60 yards a game, I'm telling you, you're going to win most of those
Yeah,
games.
but Hunter Renfrow has not done that except for 1 year.
Well, it was 2021. It was the last year he was fully healthy.
But here, I keep always
He played
saying
10 games last year.
I keep saying
That's not
anybody,
fully healthy.
anybody that is available has a black mark on their list. If you are traded,
Absolutely.
if you're a free agent,
Even
you-
OBJ.
you have something on that list that's going to say either you're not durable, you don't catch the ball all the
this is
time,
what I
maybe
want.
you want too much money,
Right.
maybe you're a little
Yeah.
older.
The
All those
bottom
things
line
being
is
included.
the most realistic, and if you look at realistic to get and best player, it's Cooks in the end.
No question.
This is what I will say.
Yeah.
This is what I will say. Cooks can play outside too, right?
Yes.
I think if I was the Browns, this is what I would do. I would go get Cooks. I'd take Judy. I don't think Judy's available. I
Yeah.
get Cooks. I would then, if I'm going to get one of those guys, my second round pick will be probably the kid from North Carolina, Josh Downs, or the kid from Cincinnati.
If they're there.
Are they slot receivers?
They're both.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
But you're with that, you are rolling the dice
You
on
rolling
two
the dice.
things. You're
You
rolling
rolling
the
the
dice
dice.
that their skill set will transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're also rolling the dice that they're going to be there.
And despite all my arguing against Renfrow, let me make it clear that I think Renfrow's a decent player. And if
He's serviceable.
he were the third wide receiver on the Browns, in theory, I'd have zero problem with him
He'd
being on the
have
team.
to be both.
I
He's
just
not gonna
don't
be your two.
Right. But if the Browns, if he's the only wide receiver they get, then he's their second best wide
He
receiver.
can't be the only wide receiver they get.
They need two.
Are you saying that
Well, I guess he'd
Are
be
you
2A,
saying from a
2B.
productive standpoint?
Right. And
Okay.
he might be their number 2.
Okay.
I'm saying if you're telling me the Browns are getting Hunter Renfrow as if they're getting like an outside receiver to replace, let's say they trade DPJ, get another outside receiver who's a good top 20, top 25 guy, and get Hunter Renfrow, yeah, I'm all in on that.
Well,
but
that's what we've been talking about all along.
Not really, because we're saying.
We know we have to have 2 pieces.
Right, but what I'm
and
saying
the slot
is
piece is Renfrow.
It's the key piece.
What I'm saying is,
I think it's the key piece
It's the
too.
key piece.
but that's why I want it to be Cooks, because Cooks is much better than Renfrow.
See,
That's
so you're,
fine.
yeah. So, but what you're prioritizing is you want your outside guys as your 1 and 2. What I'm
Not
saying
necessarily,
is,
but
I just want
I
a
don't-
slot guy
Yeah.
that can run routes, get separation, and move the chain.
What I'm saying is, the
Hey,
Browns.
hold on. Breaking news. Legit breaking news. Baker Mayfield officially to the Buccaneers. Finalized
Yeah,
from
that was-
Tom Pelissero.
Pretty expected. Any numbers?
Not yet. It literally came out 7 seconds ago.
I bet it's not more than. I bet it's in the 10 mil range, based on what Hinkie got.
Bruce Arians loved him all along, so that's probably a Bruce call right there.
That's good.
Is he still with the
I
organization?
think he's an advisor with the
He's
Buccaneers. He's
right?
not.
Yep.
He's not.
He's
you
not
know,
the coach.
But I
the
think
coach,
he probably
he
is.
still
He
got
did
some
like him a lot.
pull.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what the numbers are when they come out on Baker. I can't imagine that it's going to be over 12, but I bet it's at least 10 based on what Heineke got.
I really wanted him to stay with the Rams. I'm not gonna lie.
They were supposedly interested in that. Matthew Stafford was being low-key
I liked him with the Rams because I liked him with McVay's offensive mind.
Yeah.
And it was the perfect system. It was pretty
he
much
played all right
like
there.
it was pretty much like Stefanski. Everything is all under center. You know, it's all play action and stuff like that. The same looks. I thought he was gonna really thrive there, but
Yeah, I think he could have.
gotta go to
would have
this-
been probably best for his long-term
yeah.
success chances.
got
I
the
don't know what
numbers.
the Bucks. What are they?
A 1-year deal up to $8.5 million.
Wow, that's less. He got less than Heineke got.
Not-
I take that back.
Heineke's multi-year deal, wasn't it?
It was 2 for 20, and I think it was with incentives. It could be worth up to 20.
I think Heineke got $6 million guaranteed.
Yeah,
I'll double check on that.
So I think you're right. I think the deal was 2 for 20 with
Yeah,
all
that's
kinds of incentives built in.
He didn't even get
That's
10 million.
disrespectful.
Well, you know what? I think that's
He's
bad
got no
news.
value.
That could be good news for the Browns guys because I expected that we would get some movement on either Jackson or on
Oh, you saying
Rodgers.
so this will keep Jacoby
Let them
Brissett?
say, yeah. I mean, Jacoby Brissett. I don't know what his market's going to be.
You
I
don't
said
like
it
Kellen Mond?
Arizona still needs a starter, and so does Washington. I bet he ends up in one of those spots.
You're hilarious.
What?
Arizona needs
Kyler Murray
Well,
tore his ACL.
he can't play right away.
Oh, he's
gonna miss a lot of the
forgot
season.
he did
I think
do
they're
that.
saying October. Is it what they're
And that's
hoping?
best case scenario.
That's what they're
You
hoping.
know.
Yeah.
What's the other?
And Washington.
Arizona, I go to Washington. I ain't
It
going
makes
there.
no. This is the thing. It makes no sense if you're the Arizona Cardinals that you should even be trying to win games. I'd trade everybody that I got.
Tank.
I wouldn't even play Kyler Murray this entire season. I would get first-round draft picks. He'd come back next year. I let him know you're not playing this year at all.
You know
got
what?
a new
They
coach.
might, you know what be sad? I would get Jacoby Brissett in there. You'd be shocked. He'd probably have a better season than Kyler Murray. Can play all the Call of Duty. He could be the number one
I
ranked
trade-
player in the
Jacoby
world.
does make sense in Arizona.
I
Hopkins
think
would be
Washington
gone.
does make sense for Jacoby.
No, Jacoby. If I'm Jacoby Brissett, I'm going to Washington.
I mean, you got
'Cause
Eric Bieniemy there now.
yeah, and you got the wide receivers.
What's Atlanta? What are they doing?
They going with Desmond Ritter, or they trying to get
I don't
Lamar.
know that they're ready.
They trying to get Lamar.
I go get Lamar Jackson.
That's true. Atlanta still needs
Lamar
a quarterback.
You ready to go? You got.
I think it'll be a
Pitts.
competition between Ritter and a veteran, probably.
You got Pitts. You got the London Drake. Man, you got some parts there. You got
They
Cordell Patterson.
they got Jonnu. Didn't they just
Atlanta
trade for
signed
Jonnu?
Heineke? Is that where he went?
Atlanta signed Heineke.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right.
Oh.
Heineke and
Desmond Ritter.
Oh.
He's the bridge.
Desmond Ritter, like I said.
So it's
Hey,
Washington.
Heineke played well last year.
Desmond Ritter, like I said.
Washington
Okay.
and Arizona, and you have the only two potential starting quarterbacks still out there are Brissett and Gardner Minshew. And
Bruce Brissett probably like Arizona.
Hey,
just-
man, I'm telling
I
you.
ain't coming for nothing
I
less
got
than
that.
who did
12.
Dalton sign with somebody, right?
Yeah,
Panthers.
Hey,
the
wait a
Panthers.
minute.
Panthers,
Wait a minute.
right.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
The Ravens' backup quarterback last year that made it to the Pro
Tyler
Bowl.
Huntley.
Tyler Huntley.
Isn't he a free agent too?
I don't think so.
I doubt it.
I thought he was. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I apologize. I thought he was.
They better keep him around.
I would not be surprised if Jacoby Brissett is back with the Browns. I wouldn't be surprised. I like a couple days ago, I was just looking. I'm like, I don't see it like that. When you go give Heineke 20 million, I said that's a lot of money for Heineke. Like, I'd rather have Brissett, but maybe
Jacoby Brissett go end up in Kansas City behind Patrick Mahomes.
Huntley is a free agent.
Raking up.
Okay, so he's a free
According to
agent.
Spotrac.
So what the hell are the Ravens going to do if they?
Man, I'm telling you, they could be in major trouble.
Who the hell's their quarterback? They might.
Well, you know what? They're probably waiting because I imagine
Trace McSorley.
if the scenario plays out where Lamar isn't coming back, then they can go ahead and sign Huntley and give him a decent amount of money. He knows the system. The system is tailored to what he does.
Well, it'd be interesting.
And he had success last year. He shouldn't have been a Pro Bowl quarterback. That was a joke.
They'll be using those if somebody trade for Lamar, because they get 2 number ones if somebody trade for Lamar. They'd be getting Will Levis or Anthony Richardson.
They're screwed if Lamar's not playing there. Because they have no quarterback.
They're in rebuilding mode.
I don't think he's any good, this guy, but Huntley, I don't think he's any good, but
he's serviceable. He was kind
He
of
was
Jacoby
about to beat
Brissett.
the Bengals if he didn't put the ball out from the 3-yard
he
line.
played well in that game. Their defense played great.
That's
They
all
did,
he
but it was a
did.
low-scoring
He didn't play
game.
well.
No, he didn't play great. But
The Broncos won a Super Bowl.
How many games they winning with him?
The Seahawks won a Super Bowl without.
what was his record last year? What
Good
was
luck
the
now.
Ravens' record in games Huntley started last year? Because I remember him being better than he
only
was
threw
in
like
21.
4
But
touchdowns the whole year. I think.
Good luck.
well, he was the Pro Bowl. He ended up getting named to the
Yeah, that
Pro
was
Bowl
ridiculous.
roster.
That doesn't make
It was absurd.
You know what that means? When he go negotiate his contract, guess what he said? Pro Bowl.
Yeah, right.
That just totally invalidates the Pro Bowl.
Jacoby Brissett played better than Huntley did.
Yeah, but
He was 2-4 last year as a starter.
Yeah, I still.
how many touchdowns did he throw?
Not a lot.
He did nothing. It was
2
a
touchdowns.
joke.
Guess what though?
Good Lord.
Pro Bowler.
How in the world was he a Pro Bowl
embarrassing.
Pro
alternate?
Bowler. Pay him.
Ironically, he won the accuracy competition in the Pro Bowl.
Look at that. Look at that.
Well, that and
Pay
$1.50
him.
will get you a cup of coffee.
Pro Bowler. Pay me. When I go in and put my what have you done for Pro Bowler?
Ravens have
All Pro, talk to me. Pro Bowl.
I get it. I'm with you. I'm an all-pro guy too, but at the end of the day, when I'm negotiating, you got to pull a straw.
All right, so you're Andrew Berry for a day. Let's wrap this segment up by getting everybody on record.
Yeah.
You're Andrew Berry for a day. You have to take in the salary cap, obviously. You know, what is the one single move you're making at wide receiver? Go.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
a wide receiver.
Oh,
I
did you
would.
say
I
wide
would.
receiver?
Go get me. It's just you just gotta get the best available. If you can get, I would get Judy Cooks or DeAndre Hopkins. Maybe trade for him.
Okay, so you want the big name splash.
I want the big names, but if I get the big names, I need to go get me another one on top of that. I want another proven receiver in free agency, a middling name, maybe $4 or $5 million. I'd take that to get up out of Dodge.
What do you got?
Okay, so if I'm Andrew Berry, then I have to be Andrew Berry. So Andrew Berry is definitely not going to get rid of any of his draft picks. He got DPJ.
Oh, he's married
they
to these
value
things.
DPJ, so they're going to pay DPJ. So therefore, with that being said, we have to look at the slot because our X and our Z is pretty much confirmed. I'm going for Brandon Cooks. If I can't get Brandon Cooks or Judy, then I'm going to just go ahead and kick the tires and sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and I'm going to go ahead and get Josh Downs in the draft.
Okay, Bull?
I'm trading for Cooks.
Okay, that's my move. I want
Yes.
Cooks, number 2 on that list, and preferably both. But, you know, again, I want a pony for Christmas too, and that's not happening. Give me Cooks as my number 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I think filling a bigger area of need for us would be getting a slot, and I think that guy would be Hunter Renfrow. Work a trade with the Raiders, get him in here, and let's recreate some of that Clemson magic between the two of them.
I mean, you could probably trade 2 3s for Cooks and a 5 for Renfro, maybe.
Yeah, he probably get a 5th round, and he'd probably be about it there.
2 3s would get Cooks? You guys think?
I don't know.
In that
You know
case-
what? When I saw that the Giants just had to give up a 3 to get Darren Waller.
Yeah, but Waller has barely played the last 2 years.
Waller is such an enigma. He can be a guy that he can look like Travis Kelce for a minute. And then he just
I think that's
disappears.
stretching it a little. But
He had some games 2 years ago,
he
Bull,
had,
where
in 2019 and 2020, he had 1,100 yards each year.
And looked great.
And looked great those 2 years.
I'm telling
Since
you
then,
right-
he's missed half his games.
I'm telling you right now, the Giants get Odell Beckham. They cooking with, and they get some. They go to the draft and get some corners. They
Man, they
cooking.
still got a
They
mediocre
should get
quarterback.
Darius Slay. That's who they should get. Tell your boys to get Slay.
Go ahead, Mike.
Nuggets.
They could use a cornerback. I wonder what the odds on the Giants are to sign Darius Slay. And I bet you can find them on BetJack because the time is now, Ohio sports fans. BetJack is live in the great state of Ohio. Download the BetJack app today so you'll be ready to go with all the action. BetJack, it is Ohio Sportsbook.
All right. We were slated to bring in Aditi at noon. Is she on?
She is not here yet. We do have a little more information on the Baker contract, by the way.
Okay, what was
$4
it?
million guaranteed, $4.5 million in incentives.
Wow, that is unbelievable. And look
What
at
a
the money.
fall from grace.
Whether it was $20 million a year or not, we know it was a big dollar ballpark that the Browns were willing to spend to get him, coming off the high of a playoff appearance and a really good season. And his agent probably left $40 to $60 million on the table.
Yeah, he did.
Bad on him.
Man, so the $8.5 million is the max he can make this year.
Tops.
Oh, Baker.
And that would be if he doubles his base.
He wasn't that bad.
Man.
And how
No,
much?
I mean,
he's
you know
got-
what? He's doing the smart thing for him now is he still believes in himself. You got to give this
Well,
guy
you have
credit.
to.
At least
he's
he's got a
doing
chance to
1 year
start.
prove it, and it's just based on what he does next year in Tampa will determine
But
what he
they-
gets following.
Is he definitely the starter? Or
Aren't
is there a
they-
real competition with
No,
Kyle
I don't.
Trask?
I don't think there would
But
be a competition.
aren't
Just like
they-
I didn't think there'd be one
But
between.
why? What has Baker done that would earn him a definite starting job?
I think to me, and this is the intoxicating
Played
thing
the
about
whole
Baker
season.
Mayfield. When he came to the Rams and had 2 days to learn a system, and on a national stage looked like the guy that
And
took
then
the
he
Browns to the
But
quarterfinals
then
in
he
the playoffs.
stunk in 3 of the last 4 games.
But
after
who
that.
is
terrible.
who is they OC? Because they got rid of
Well,
Byron Leftwich, didn't they?
I'll say this about the Rams and his time there.
No, I'm talking
they were
about the
missing 2 starting
Buccaneers.
linemen. They were missing wide receivers. He never threw the ball to Cooper Kupp, I don't think, did he?
No.
So, I mean, he had no pieces around him, and the team was in mail-in mode.
But who is? I'm
But
saying
what he did on that primetime game, I
think
I
he's-
couldn't believe what I was
I
looking
think
at.
he's a terrible fit for Tampa. They have no running game. He needs a running game.
they got rid of Lenny. They
got
don't
no
they got to
running
get rid of
game.
one of the receivers because they over the cap?
Yeah, I mean, they may have to trade Mike Evans.
He's got some nice pieces to throw to, though, guys.
Chris Godwin.
Yeah, Godwin and Evans, if those guys both
Evans-
stay,
they-
like
Right,
those are nice.
that's
but
a
they
They
got
big
got no
if.
running game. And he can't get the ball downfield.
Well,
I mean, I don't
you know, like we're screaming, you got to address the defensive line.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers are screaming, you got to address the running back position. I mean, they were going into games. They went into the Browns game. The reason they lost to the Browns last year is because every single play, Tom Brady came to the line of scrimmage and yelled, "We're throwing." Every play.
That's his own fault.
Well, it is, but that's how you get beat in the NFL is be one-dimensional.
All right.
And they can't be next year. Next year, they absolutely have to go out and get
I'm
a
not
running
sure.
back.
I don't believe that Baker's definitely the starter there.
Who else they got?
They got
Kyle
that They
Trask.
drafted him somewhat high.
Kyle Trask.
Yeah, from Florida.
Yeah, no, he's he's the starter.
It is officially 12 o'clock, which means it is time to remind everybody that the good people at Colleague Racing are the official sponsor of the noon hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Colleague Racing is your Northeast Ohio NASCAR team. And with that, we welcome on our NFL insider, Aditi Kingwala. What's up,
Aditi, did you see this Baker contract here?
I was literally just looking at that.
He basically just signed a Case Keenum contract.
Half of the $15 million he made last year.
This is crazy. Why you?
I mean, look,
Well,
you have
no,
to bet
that's-
on yourself.
Aditi-
Some
Aditi-
job is better than no job.
By the way,
Right?
Aditi, have you ever seen a picture where a player looked more punchable than this picture here?
Oh, my God.
Wow.
You know what?
Please.
But at this point, Adam, I just
Come on,
feel
look at
like
that
you've been
face.
so
Counseling, Aditi.
open
He
about your
looks-
bias
Gee, does
against
he not look punchable in that picture yesterday?
man.
Bull, you need
Damn,
counseling.
bro.
You need
Damn.
Yeah.
I can't even get you with me on this.
Adam, let it
I don't have
go.
to. He's so
Punchable
mad.
is such a.
Come on, he's got a punchable face.
Hey man, that man is just trying to get a job, bro.
Bull needs counseling. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I'm
He
with
ain't my
you on that
problem.
one.
He ain't my
You know,
problem.
you're all haters. You're all haters.
No,
of me.
one of us is a hater.
You're all
You're
haters of
the
me.
hater.
Aditi, just admit that Baker sucks so we can move on.
No, you're the one that's the hater. The guy is gone. He's out of your city. Just let him be.
Yes.
Let it go.
Like, stop obsessing over that man.
From like Frozen or something? Let it go.
Is he still making commercials? Do we know about that?
Sing it, G.
Is Baker still posing with tigers in his underwear?
Gee, how
It was
about
good
that
use of his
Browns
time.
defensive line?
Oh wow, I love it. Was Tomlinson?
Aditi.
Yeah.
Aditi, I just got a memo from Bull's doctor. It says we have diagnosed Bull with what is commonly known as
OCD.
BDS.
What's that?
Baker Derangement Syndrome.
Man, is that a derivative from Trump?
It is.
System?
It
Okay,
is.
It's like a cousin.
Here's the thing. When you hate somebody, and hate's a strong word, but I know you dislike him massively.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is divorce yourself from any and all thoughts of him because
Why? I have fun
I'll tell you
making
why.
fun of him.
Hate corrodes the vessel that carries it.
No, it makes me
does.
happy. It makes me happy.
No,
to
it
make
doesn't.
fun
It
of Baker.
clearly makes you angry.
Well, I got a question.
No, it makes me happy.
I got a question. We
Go
talk
ahead.
about moving on. I got two names that I'm going to throw at you, Aditi, and you tell me which one would you like for the Browns to make, because we've been arguing about wide receivers this whole time, and we mention, we failed to even mention these two guys, so I'm going to give it to you as a possibility. Should the Browns trade for Elijah Moore or sign DJ Shark in free agency?
I love Sharkin.
I like Shark.
Yeah, but I feel like Moore's got so much untapped potential still. And I got to meet with him before the game against the Browns. He was in our production meeting, and I got to tell you, I love the kid. Loved him. Loved his moxie. Loved the way he goes after what he wants. And he's got that toughness about him, too. And none of this is a statement on who DJ Shark is, but I kind of really like the idea of Elijah Moore needing a fresh start, wanting to go someplace. And I just think he adds an element that isn't necessarily already present on the Browns roster.
Yeah. Call your people.
I think it's a good call by Tyvis. Actually, we didn't mention Elijah Moore, and I think Elijah Moore would make a lot of sense. I do think it's
Well, what about you, Tyvis? What are you thinking? Which one would you rather have?
Personally, I'd rather have Tyvis Powell. I mean, the guy can do everything. I mean, listen, we need locker room leadership.
But can he be had? I heard he's really expensive.
Listen,
It might be tough to fit in the cap.
Honestly,
446.
Yeah,
go look it up right now. Everybody that's watching, 446. Go Google Tyvis Powell combine time. You'd be absurd at some of the numbers that I try.
Aditi, I'd rather, if I was a Buccaneers fan, I'd rather have Tyvis as my quarterback than Baker. See?
What's with you?
I'm with you. I'm picking you as my QB.
No, honestly, I'd rather.
Wait a minute. So am I texting Andrew Berry right now and telling him that Tyvis needs a tryout?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
Jay, listen, Jay don't want to get me in with the Guardians, so if you can get me in with the Browns, that'd be fine.
I tried. They asked me where he played his college ball.
You tell him that he took unfortunately, he took a athletic football scholarship. But if he would have just stayed dedicated to baseball, Ken Griffey III would have been his name.
They asked me for a scouting report, and I said, I've only seen one at-bat. He grounded out in a softball.
No, you seen me twice at bat.
You know.
You grounded out.
You know what
No, the first one, it was a base hit. McNuggets, pull the records.
We don't have the video. The first one was a single
Pull
center.
them later.
The other one was a ground out.
Aditi, how do you grade the
best
Browns'
part about
moves?
not playing a sport anymore is
What?
that you get to make up whatever stories you want.
Yeah.
And you don't play anymore.
The fish
These
gets bigger.
these are not make-believe. This is all facts.
Yeah.
I'm not
Aditi,
kidding.
how do you grade the Browns' moves so far?
I mean, I love them, right? How long have we been saying that they need to shore up that defensive front? They need to rebuild the interior of that defensive line. That's where they need to be focused. That's what Jim Schwartz needs. And boom, that's exactly what they went out and they did. And reasonably, might I add. It's not like they threw the whole bank away at somebody, which is, what we were talking about a year ago. So I feel like these were smart, targeted moves. I think that they obviously helped the team. And I think that they didn't cost an obscene amount of money.
Aditi, where is
The moves,
Lamar
not the
Jackson?
people. That's weird to say that about people.
What's your prediction on where Lamar Jackson is going to be playing next season?
My gosh. I mean, I sort of feel like he's going to end up being in Baltimore just because how is he even going to negotiate anything with anybody else? This whole agent thing makes me a little bit crazy. I really, truly don't understand how he still can't get an agent. Like why he still refuses. How there is nobody that they are willing to take advice and counsel from. And it's funny because I was on the phone with the mother of 2 NFL players yesterday. She actually was married to an NFL player, has 2 children who play in the NFL, and it just blows her mind that he doesn't have an agent.
Aditi, can you try? Yesterday we were a little confused. McNuggets, if you could put that back up. Lamar Jackson tweeted 133 for 3 years, fully guaranteed, with the not excited face. But I need an agent, and he's laughing with his hand over it. Does that mean that is what the Ravens offered him, and he says that was laughable? What do you take from this particular tweet? Because we tossed it out to our panel, and we couldn't understand whether he was being facetious or that was literally an offer that he threw out there, which would be a bad business decision because usually your employer does not like when you throw your wages out in public information.
And especially that employer. P.S. By the way, Ravens take leaks to a whole other level than any other organization in the National Football League. They keep everything as close as possible. So agreed to point number 2 that you're making, G. And as for the first part of it, I mean, it's kind of how I read it. I wasn't really sure, but it sort of made it seem like he was saying, hey, I was already offered this. Why do I need an agent?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's how I read it,
It's
too.
very hard to discern. This whole thing from the very beginning. I mean, it feels as if we've been talking about this for months. And I did say to y'all that I thought that it would indeed be the non-exclusive tag because I thought that Eric DaCosta would say to him, all right, go out there, go see what your market is then. Right. And also because there was be this piece of difficulty that there's not an agent. And this goes all the way back to when he was in college, when people were questioning why he didn't have an agent and half the league was trying to talk to him about a position other than quarterback. It just, the point was made, and I think it was Mike Florio at Pro Football Talk who pulled Josh Allen's numbers over the last 2 years since he signed a new deal versus what Lamar has gotten. That's money that you're just never going to get back in any way of any kind. No matter what deal is done right now, you're not getting those years and that money back. It really stupefies me. I cannot understand how he and his mom and his family don't think that there's value to be gotten by bringing in somebody else here. Yeah. And if it has to do with what the percentage is, well, then negotiate that percentage down.
Yeah. Hey, I get it to some degree. We've all a lot of us have dealt with agents, right? In this business, a lot of them are very sleazy. I've had 2 agents that I had, and then I fired them both because I thought they were both sleaze bags. I didn't like them. And so it's hard to give up your money to someone that you feel is like not earning that money. But this is such big money when it comes to Lamar, and there are advantages of having an agent in that business that there's a reason most players have it. Tyvis, you had an agent, I assume?
Yeah, I still got my agent.
Right.
We have a regular. Y'all got media agents? Y'all got media agents?
I had
also
one.
think that there
I
are
fired
certain
him.
I've never had one, and I'm the big exception to that rule.
Yeah, but
Aditi, I know.
most
people
people
have
do.
an
Aditi,
agent.
you got a media
But I also
agent?
think that there are certain things that you don't necessarily want to hear. Like
I've always wanted to
I
hear
trust
those
my
things.
agent to tell me the truth, and he does tell me the truth. But there are certain things that are said to my agent that I would respond to so emotionally that it's better he hears them as opposed to me hearing them initially.
That's
like
why.
Yeah,
that's
most
why
people.
Let's say
Jay's
the lawyer
unusual.
says
I'm
this about
unusual.
Aditi, that's exactly why most people in the business, in media,
TV
have
especially.
agents. I will tell you, there was a
me.
time when, during a negotiation period that I was in at ESPN, where the very high up manager that I was negotiating with told me at the time, as far as I know, you're the only talent at ESPN in studio production. Not that includes some of the game broadcasts and everything else, but in studio production that was not represented. And at the end of the negotiation, he could have been blowing smoke, but he said it's the smart play because it gives us more flexibility in negotiation, because oftentimes the agent comes in specifically to negotiate his own salary, which puts you in a ballpark depending on what you're paying your agent. I have friends in the business that pay 3%. Unfortunately, I have too many friends that pay 10%, which is absurd to me. But that buffer there oftentimes becomes the difference between an offer going to you and to someone else. So I made myself more marketable by not having an agent.
I didn't love negotiating myself in radio, but I did it. I had an agent briefly. I fired him. I didn't like him. And I negotiated all my own contracts and, whatever.
I've always had a lawyer look over
everything. But you have a lawyer looking over.
Well, I think there's pros and cons, right? Like on the one hand, your agent also has to be aware and accountable to and worried about other clients. And so let's say you're negotiating, Jay, with ESPN, and you're also representing 4 other people at ESPN. You can't necessarily say everything you want because you can't, put those other 4 in harm's way.
Right.
On the other hand, an agent maybe knows the market a little bit better than you do, knows what's going to come up, hears certain things before you can possibly hear them, knows where to toss your name or not.
Well,
I don't know.
true.
I also feel like that you get to a certain point in your career. Well, I don't know how much your agent really does for you. I don't know at this point that my agent is bringing me anything new. I don't know that there's anybody in the world right now that isn't, and I don't mean it like in an obnoxious way, but I don't know that a real is going to help me at this point. You're either going to hire me or not. You kind of know who I am. But to Lamar Jackson's case, he does need one right now. This is the most important negotiation that he will ever make in his entire life.
Fact.
You hope that there's another contract after this one. But you don't know that there's another contract after this one. So why would you not want every single stone unturned?
Well,
I agree with that.
Because I had a friend who negotiated his own deals towards his last 2 contracts, and when he negotiated his one, all the veterans was like, why would you sign a deal like this? Now, the deal was he made
Are you talking about Sherm?
I'm not going to put a name on it.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about Sherm.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was out there.
Anyway,
that's what happened.
when he negotiated his deal, it was heavy incentives based.
Sure.
It was, if I make Pro Bowl, I get this. If I make All Pro, I get this. If I just play a certain amount of games, it was that. But he ended up getting more money because he bet it on himself. But so when I talked to my agent about it, he said it's a terrible contract because he says, Tyvis, if he gets hurt, he's going to miss out on all this money. He says, y'all go for the big money. Yeah, his contract is more money, but basically he's putting himself at risk. He said, when I negotiate a contract, I'm going to get you paid whether you playing or not. So I'm going to protect you.
Right.
And that's kind of the give and take when it comes to it.
That's a mindset. Like I remember a few years ago, let's say 5 years ago, my husband and I had this back and forth where the NFL Network at the time, and I hope I'm allowed to say this, but whatever, the NFL Network at the time was not offering the same amount of money, was in a position where the money wasn't necessarily going to be what you wanted it to be, but there was the potential that a year after that, there would be a lot more money. And my agent didn't want to do a long-term deal that was kind of flat. Because he was like, you're going to be worth so much more money a year from now. Just do it for the 1 year and let's not let them lock you in for whatever, 4 years, 3 years, something like that. My husband was very much of the mind that the security counts for something, the guarantee, not going through the issue of this a year from now. It's just a completely different mindset. Are you a Richard Sherman? Are you going to bet on yourself and have faith that there is indeed going to be a bigger market for you a year from now? Or do you like the guarantee? Do you like the security? Are you my husband? It's a different mindset. Your agent, Tyvis, it certainly sounds like, wanted to know that no matter what, you were taken care of. And he didn't want you to feel like you needed to perform to earn that money.
And then, Didi, I said the same thing yesterday. I said, well, look, he may be looking for a 5-year guaranteed deal. They may not be comfortable in giving it to him with his health history and the way he plays the game. If they come to him and say, we'll give you 3 years for $150 million guaranteed, that's an average of $50 million a year, and it's a shorter deal, but it is fully guaranteed, and you still can renegotiate at 29.
He ain't going to do it.
I would.
But see,
I would think about that.
This is exactly the point. This is exactly what I was saying. If I'm him, I'm doing that because you know what happens to quarterback salaries? They get old in 5 seconds.
That's right.
So if you lock yourself up for 5 years, by the time you get to year 3, year 4, year 5, you're probably in the bottom half of what quarterbacks are being paid. If you bet on yourself, look, $150 million over 3 years, is generational wealth. You and your family and your kids' kids should all be good with that amount of money. So you're going to be worth so much more money in year 4 when you get to renegotiate than if you lock yourself into year 4 right now. Patrick Mahomes' deal, it's old already. It's old. I think, and I've said this before, I know that Adam and I have had this conversation. I really think that this is what Joe Burrow is going to do. I think Joe Burrow is going to do a super high guarantee short-term deal. Because he's smart enough, he's not going to waste his money. He knows that if his career ends in 3 years, it's still generational wealth. I'll use that term again. But if his career doesn't end in 3 years, well, he's going to be worth so much more
and he's
3 years from now than he is right now.
Yeah, and
maybe he's got 2 Super Bowls by that time. Maybe he's got an MVP at that time.
And Aditi, I think the cautionary tale here is Baker Mayfield, because after his best season, we never knew, there were never any hard numbers confirmed, and maybe you can add to this. But supposedly, they were feeling each other out to see what neighborhood they were in, and the Browns were willing to give him a very lucrative contract, and Baker and his agent decided, nope, that's not the number we're looking for. We're going to come back. We're going to do it again next year. That didn't happen. Today, he signed a contract that guarantees him to make $4.5 million next year.
Well, Lamar's best is a lot better than Baker's best.
I know it is. I'm just using this as a cautionary tale. Last year, he made 15. So the conventional wisdom is, whatever the Browns were talking on the extension after the playoff season, it was likely between 15 and 20 per.
Right, but
now he's playing for 4.5.
Jay, the bottom line is Lamar Jackson's going to get a lot of money this year anyway.
He is.
And he'd be a free agent next year, and somebody's going to pay him a ton of money next year.
If that's the route he goes. But also the way he plays has to be factored into all of this decision-making. Aditi said quarterbacks' deals get old immediately.
And then there's also that question. I mean, look, wasn't that part of the conversation this past season when, Mike Vick was saying slap on a knee brace and play and this, that, and the other?
Yes.
Well, he doesn't have the security to go out there. So then you're in that same position. If you're playing on a 1-year franchise tag and you're playing for your next contract, then are you kind of playing a little timid? Are you playing? That's what the security does for you. And I think that the Baker question, it's such an interesting question. You can never undervalue yourself. You should always sit here and try to get what you're worth, but you should also look at the big picture. Yeah. And so Adam is mocking Baker a few minutes ago about his commercials. Yes. But the guy was a king in Cleveland. So maybe he was making $3 million less on the football contract, but he had an offense that worked for him, where he was moving the ball, where the team was winning, where he was getting these progressive commercials. And again, when you win, everybody eats. It's like the whole Le'Veon Bell conversation that we had, where I was saying, you go to another team, you don't have an offensive line that blocks for you that way. You don't have a number 1 receiver that's drawing all the defenses. You don't have a Hall of Fame quarterback who extends plays and does some crazy things. You might get $2 million more with the Jets, but you will more than make up for that money with the Steelers because of what you are able to earn off the field, because of what you'll be able to do within the parameters of that offense. He chased the extra $2 million, and look at what happened.
Aditi,
but the flip to that, of course, is like you can't tell someone, undersell yourself.
It's easy for us to all say that, right, on the outside, not being offered that
Of course, but I just think we're all guilty of not necessarily looking at the whole picture, the big picture. And I think that that's to your point of what you're saying here.
Ultimately, it comes down to what the player is comfortable with. And Aditi makes great points talking about the security blanket of having a long-term deal is very enticing. On the other hand, you don't want to sign a deal that is below your market value. And by the way, there's pressure by the NFLPA and your teammates too when you do that, because you're setting the bar for other people that are coming behind you. So there is kind of that external pressure. But at the end of the day, it's every person has to make their own decision that they're comfortable with. I know I'm guessing.
But Tom Brady, let's not forget, Tom Brady never had a problem doing that. Because Tom Brady wanted teammates that he could win with, and he knew that as long as he kept winning, not only was his legacy secure, but he'd get vitamin water, he'd get he'd all these other side deals to make that money. Exactly.
Absolutely. And so that's the genius
of Jackson looks at the Ravens, I would sit here and say this is a team that completely retooled its offense to build around me. That is completely designing what it's doing around me and what I do best.
Right.
And is everybody else going to do that?
Although Aditi, they didn't give him any talent around him.
No, not this past year, and that's certainly a quibble. There's not. I mean, there's not only one right answer here, right? Like, it's not, the Ravens are totally right, or Lamar is totally right. Like, it just doesn't work that way. Obviously, that's why a negotiation is you have to meet some place. I'm just saying, I hope that he is looking at the whole entire picture. I struggle to see that when he doesn't have an agent who brings a different POV, a different experience, and different conversations to the table.
Yeah. Let's move to some other news over the last 24, 48 hours that were interesting. We were talking about the Darren Waller trade briefly for a third-round pick. Obviously, he's really good, but he's injury-prone, and also the Aaron Rodgers stuff, too. Or anything else you want to hit on? Like, what's kind of stood out to you over the first 48 hours?
Do you think that the Aaron Rodgers thing is like just we're all being punked? Like, they all know exactly what's happening?
I hate him. I do hate him.
Everybody.
I hate Aaron Rodgers even more than I hate Baker.
RDS.
Wow, that's
Rodgers derangement.
That's a lot right there. You hate him more than Baker.
Hey, listen. Aaron Rodgers has a better case than Baker, right? Baker just won a job. Like Aaron Rodgers be doing some strange stuff. I ain't gonna be your friend. I would just stick away from you. But Aaron Rodgers is a strange bird. He's a strange dude, bro.
I mean, he's been a strange bird for a long, long, long time. But I just
punked, do you mean that
you gonna go in there? And
I think the decision's been made. Trey Wingo. Trey Wingo isn't necessarily a newsbreaker, but he's plugged in. And for Trey to tweet what he tweeted, I took that as gospel. I think that's what's going to happen, and I think they're trying to build this drama up through this McAfee appearance. But I think at 1 o'clock, they'll drag it out. And however long his appearance is, in the last 20 seconds, he'll say, oh, by the way, I'm going to the Jets.
That's what LeBron did. I'm going to South Beach.
It's not undecided. He knows where he's going.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's a huge ego stroke.
Reading? Adam, what are you reading on your phone right now?
I'm just wanting to find if there's any breaking Browns news. I'm just, staying on top of it.
Well, Aditi, in our chats, Bull, I think he's got something that goes from his phone to his wire, and it gives him an electric shock. Anytime an NFL insider tweets a move, I was yesterday on the treadmill. This is a God-honest true story. I found out about the Waller trade from Bull. 2 minutes later, the NFL Network had it.
Yeah, I had it first. I had that news first.
Yeah.
I just didn't take credit.
Was it Darren? Did Darren call you and tell you? Is that how you knew?
Did y'all see
Darren close? I call him D.
So, Bull, you clearly have notifications set on your phone.
No, I'm just obsessively looking at Twitter.
Are you looking at it
like an effing lunatic?
Yeah,
set notifications.
I have a brain damage. I'm messed up. I had 3 seizures when I was a kid. I'm effed up.
They said that.
That's why I hate. That's why I hate Baker. That's why I hate Aaron Rodgers. That's why
I want to release you of that negative energy.
or strongly.
I don't really hate them. I'm exaggerating.
No, I don't think he does either. I'll tell you this.
I don't wish anything bad to them.
8 months, 9 months, however long it's been.
Yeah.
I can actually tell people that, and you may be surprised to hear this.
Yeah.
Bull has a huge heart, but it's surrounded by scar tissue, and it's tough to get to. But when you get to it, you realize that he's actually a compassionate and kind soul who has the ability to really get angry and hate.
Well, if I like you, you're all in. I got your back to the end.
Take back the Zeke comments.
What?
The one that
I didn't say I hate Zeke.
No, you didn't hate him, but you
I just don't think he's that good.
You had a whole new segment created that
Tony Pollard is better than Zeke.
Yeah.
Which is true.
No, but you making it sound like Zeke's just done.
I don't think he's done. I just don't think he's.
They cut him yet?
He's not worth
it's coming later today.
They're not cutting him.
If he ends up on the Bengals, I'll like him again.
I do have a real question.
Hey, he could.
Devin Bush.
You are
he's
hilarious.
a free agent.
Yeah.
Is this? You've got a chance to watch Devin Bush a little bit. We're close to Pittsburgh. I loved him coming out of college. I thought he was going to be a solid linebacker. Is he worth kicking the tires on? What's the Sky report on him, and why did it go bad in Pittsburgh? Injuries? Or?
I mean, I think everybody is worth kicking the tires on, right? You're not doing your due diligence if you're not examining anybody that's out there. Right. He wasn't the same after he had the ACL surgery, and it's hard. It takes a full year to come back off of that. So I think the first year, he wasn't cut much slack. He just wasn't. This is so terrible that this is what it comes down to. But sometimes it's your likability, whether you're willing to cut someone some slack. Mm-hmm. And it's, are you willing to say, I mean, I hate that it comes down to this again, but like if you're the type of guy that smiles, if you're friendly, if you're not tweeting about killing cats, things like that, look it up. I won't go into it right now.
You got to kill a cat once in a while. Come on.
People might be willing to acknowledge, it takes a little bit to come off of that, and your lateral movement may still be a year away and whatever. I think that was a little bit hard. I think that he was asked to do some things that maybe didn't necessarily play to his strengths. The Steelers also were not very good in the interior of their defensive line, and the back end wasn't as great as it could have been. And so who gets exposed by that? It's your inside linebacker, obviously. So it was a lot of puzzle pieces. I'm not willing to say that the guy's a bust. I'm not willing to say that he's just not got it. But I also am not willing to say, he just was in a totally wrong position and he's going to go someplace else and be a perennial All-Pro. I don't know that either. And some of it, I think, has to do with his desire as well and his want to.
Hey, Aditi, before we let you go, we spent a lot of time on the wide receiver position, and we kind of talked about, who would you most like to see come in here? Names, obviously, the trade for would be Brandon Cooks and Hunter Renfrow. There are other guys. They could also just pause on that and try to address the wide receiver hole at the draft, right, which they haven't had a lot of success in drafting wide receivers. The two third-rounders in Bell and Schwartz were still, watching the sand go through the hourglass on those guys. What do you think they're going to do to address that, whether it be draft, free agency, or trade? And do you have a player in mind that you think would be the perfect fit for what they're doing here?
I've advocated that I don't think that you spend super high at that spot right now. So the benefit to a veteran, the benefit to a trade or a free agency signing is that you've seen demonstrated success on this level. But I also think that one of the most easily translatable positions from college to this level is wide receiver.
Right.
And, Schwartz, I think, was always a flyer. I've said this before to you. You either have the ball skills or not. You either have like some sort of natural catching ability or not. He was always about his speed. Bell, I'm unwilling to give up on. The previous board that you put up had Paris Campbell on it. And I remember having a very long conversation with Reggie Wayne about Paris Campbell last year. I was at Paris Campbell's pro day. I remember watching how he tracked the ball, feeling strongly about the receiver that he would be. And then we kind of just didn't see it early in his career. And Reggie Wayne was saying to me last year, the guy's been dinged up a little bit. He hasn't had full opportunity. And I finally get my hands on him. And I really feel like we're finally getting to where we want to be with this young player. And he's really going to, burst out now. And if Reggie Wayne is saying that, it means something to me. Like sometimes not everybody comes out and has a Jamar Chase rookie year. Not everybody is a George Pickens their rookie year. And it does take a minute. So David Bell, I'm not willing to write off just yet. Schwartz, I think Schwartz is who Schwartz is. I don't expect him to suddenly develop this insane ability to catch the ball. I don't. So that one's fair. I'm not willing to give up on David Bell just yet.
Yeah, it's too early.
I think that this is a price question. And I don't know the exact market right now or what is being asked for some of these guys out who are on the trade market. So I can't tell you, trade for more or go after this one because I don't know what
it all comes down to price.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, Aditi, I talked to Paris and he is very open to the possibility of playing for the Cleveland Browns. So, Andrew Berry, I've done pretty much 98% of the work in a week worth of on my vacation. I spent my vacation spending 98% doing your work for you. All you got to do is it's a layup. Boom.
Let's go,
Just throw it
All right,
out
well,
there. Boom.
Tyvis, you tell Paris that Reggie Wayne was bragging on him to me.
I would definitely send him a message. Go Bucks.
Thanks, Aditi.
Yeah, seriously.
Aditi, great to see you. We'll see you next week. Thanks for all your great
Sounds
stuff.
great. Bye, guys. Have fun.
Bye.
McNuggets, read away.
By the way, real quick, the Broncos are supposedly they are willing to trade Judy, according to Jeff Howe, who covers them for The Athletic.
Yeah.
He says it would take at least a first-round pick.
Yeah, well, that's not happening. That won't happen.
The Browns don't have a
funny.
first-round pick, but we do have a 12 o'clock sponsor of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and that is Colleague Racing. Colleague Racing, the official sponsor of UCSS and also the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. Before we talk Cavs, I do want to remind you guys for $1.99 a month, you become a Starters Tier member of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It gets you loyalty badges, custom emojis, and members-only community posts. We surpassed a certain threshold. The confused G emoji is now available.
Oh,
in the chat.
boy.
So if you got that, please drop that.
Yes,
in the chat.
sir.
Can we see
What
the
does that look
confused
like?
G?
I haven't seen it yet, so
The
when we see it, we'll be able to
confused
throw
G
it up.
is in the building. They waited me out.
My favorite is the allegedly, where you just kind of go like,
allegedly.
what?
Hey, they hit, it's been a long time. They shoot all the other emojis.
Allegedly.
They
Yeah, it's so good.
They was like, you got to get all these subscribers. I'm like, dang, shout out to y'all. We had our best day of subscribers. How many subscribers? we did?
76.
76.
Woo!
Speaking of
In one day.
76,
Why? Was there a reason for that?
We was winning.
I don't know,
We're
but
trying to get to 25,000, by our May 9th one-year anniversary. So
Not
hopefully
sus-
the
not-
people
not-
out there
We've had more days where we've had more than 76 subscribers in one day.
in a while. No, it's biggest in a while.
Okay, because,
But-
I mean, there for a while early on, we were averaging in the hundreds a day.
well, speaking of 76, the Cavs got a big game coming up.
76ers.
Look
Yeah.
at that.
So
Look at
they-
you like that?
It was smooth. It was smooth.
I got a future in this.
You're
thing.
going places. Yeah, so they just finished their road trip 3-1. That was they had back-to-backs at Miami, back-to-backs at Charlotte. They split in Miami. They beat the Hornets last night. I think last night's win was one of the more impressive wins that they've notched in a while. I know the Hornets are bad, but they did it without Donovan Mitchell. They did it without Jarrett Allen. They won 120-104. I wrote down some numbers before we talk about the importance of this Sixers game tonight. 31-8 against teams under 500.
That's good.
31-8. That's what you're
you
supposed
win
to
the ones
do.
that you're supposed to win.
Here's the troubling numbers for the Cavs. They are 13-19 when they play teams that are 500 or better. 13-19. They are 28-7 at home, one of the best home marks in the game. They are 16-20 on the road. They're 3 games ahead of the Knicks for the 4. They're 3 games behind the 76ers for the
so
3.
they're in the 4.
They're almost locked into the 4
How
at
many
this point.
games are left?
10.
They have 11 left.
11 or okay. Here's the problem.
Yeah, it's locked.
They're 5 games behind Philly in the loss column.
Yeah, the Phillies played 4 less games. than
Yes,
the Cavs.
and unfortunately the Cavs in those games, they're 5 behind them in the loss column. They're not getting the 3.
Yeah.
The only
Even if
question
they win
is,
tonight, they're 2 behind them.
The only question is, are they going to play Brooklyn or the Knicks in the first round?
I
That's
think
really
that is,
the only
that's
question.
pretty much what it boils down to. It would be nice to send a message to Philly by beating them at home tonight. And the reason I say that is if they get past their first round opponent, be it the Knicks or the Nets, there's a good likelihood that they could see the 76ers because the 76ers aren't far behind the 2.
No,
are
they would play Milwaukee. They'd play the 1 seed.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Still, they've had
man.
some success against Milwaukee, Philly, and Boston this year. Not a lot.
But yes, to your point, Philly is 1 game back of Boston, but they're tied in the loss column for second place.
Yeah, they could end up in the 2.
Philly is behind Boston, but 1 game.
But only 1
In
game
the loss column.
No, they're even in the loss column. They're 1 game back total.
No kidding.
Oh, I thought they were 2 games behind Boston.
Nope.
Okay, well then this is bigger for Philly than
about
it is
to
for
say,
the
yeah.
Cavs.
Milwaukee's.
Get these
If the
results
Cavs win, they're going to play. If the Cavs win, they're going to play Milwaukee.
Well, I
Most
didn't-
likely.
Well, to backtrack to yesterday,
Yeah.
the only thing I took away from yesterday's game is that Karis LeVert can make plays when he wants to. Cedi Osman comes off the bench and he is 24. So that it's there. I need to see it more consistently. It's going to have to happen in the playoffs. Those guys going to have to come off the bench and make some plays.
My fear is it's there against Charlotte. but
Yes,
it's
and
not
that's
there-
my point
it's
right
not
there.
against
That's
the Phillies,
exactly what it
Boston.
is.
Yeah.
Before I get to that comment, shout out to my man RT Sports Entertainment. Welcome to the coaches tier. I just saw
There
that
you
pop
go.
up. We appreciate you.
Nice.
Shout
Look
out
at
to
that.
you.
Explain the coaches tier. That's $4.99 a month. You get
$4.99?
exclusive content.
Oh, you get the exclusive content, the overtime. You got the emojis, all the stuff you get in in the 199 tier. So you get all of that and our content. Now, the overtime content, I'm not going to lie, it's dope. We answer your questions. We've been doing a series on fan questions. They've been really awesome. We're not going to do it today because we'll be shooting a promo. However, Coach's Tier will be back. And by the way, if you don't want to do Coach's Tier or the 199 tier, you always can ball on the budget. Likes is free. Hit that like and subscribe button.
Subscribe, absolutely.
Jetty looks good against guys like the Hornets. Okoro will look good against the middling teams like the Hawks.
He only had 3 points, though.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think yesterday's game is completely meaningless.
I agree.
They
beat a team that they should have
They
beat.
did what they're supposed to do, and you don't get points
I know
for that.
they had guys that were out, but like without those guys, they're not beating any good teams anyway. So
No, but I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
When Golden State came in here and rested their big quad.
Why you bring that up?
Well,
they
because
hit 23 threes.
I know, but what it shows is every win in the NBA is earned. And you take Allen and you take Mitchell out of the lineup, and you're on the road. That's a hold your breath game to me, and it was never close.
my only thought about the Cavs for the next 4 weeks is don't get anybody hurt.
Exactly.
Be healthy going to the playoffs. I don't really care that much. Yeah, I'd like them to win most of their remaining games and play pretty well.
This would be
but just stay healthy for the next few weeks till the playoffs.
This
That's
is
all that
like
matters.
a feather in your cap, though. If you beat Philly tonight,
yeah.
that gives you confidence
they're
when
la-
you have to go
And
against
I think
Milwaukee.
50 wins would be an accomplishment. I mean, they haven't won 50 without LeBron in 30 years. So
What we at 44?
I think
Yeah, 44.
45, I think.
I think it's bigger.
44.
I think it's
44,
bigger than
right.
we let
They got to
on.
go 6-5.
I think it's bigger than we let on these last few games because you're getting games right now where, for young players, I remember being being younger. you half the time you don't really get it. Your coaches is telling you stuff, and then you'll go into a game and all of a sudden you'll have this really good game and you don't really know as a young player why. You're like, but I've been practicing hard. I've been playing hard. Something just goes off where you understand it at a different level. You're like, oh, so if I do this, I can make some plays. Like, okay, cool. Now, Evan Mobley, for me, is a guy that he can, when you got a kid, they say kids grow leaps and bounds from the time they're like 2 years old to like 3 years old. Like they can talk, they can walk, they got all this other stuff.
Right.
For Mobley's game, I saw a lot of things that I like that he's been developing over the course of the season. 26 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. But it's not the fact that he's just doing it on that end. He's been dynamic defensively. But he's now starting to put together back to the basket, jump hooks. I love how he pump fakes around. Like, he's not a guy, usually bigs can get stripped. Usually bigs will lose the ball when they get the ball in space or got to put it down 1 or 2 times. He's doing a good job of pump faking, and he's dunking everything moving. So I think that he's growing leaps and bounds, and that confidence translates. Especially when you're playing against a guy like Embiid and he's playing hard, you could go back and say, Evan, if it's game 3 of a playoff, listen, let me show you what you did against him.
Sure,
Let me ask you a question. Is Evan Mobley better without Jared Allen on the
Yeah.
team?
Yeah.
So do you think
Yeah.
those two, to win a championship, can those two coexist?
Yeah, if you got the right coach, because the right coach has to stagger the minutes. Those staggered minutes.
So you wouldn't have them on at the same time?
You can, but not all the time.
Defensively, they are much better. Offensively, his game is not as good when he's on the court with Jared Allen, in my opinion. McNuggets?
They can play together defensively. The issue offensively is neither can shoot. Until Mobley develops that three-point shot, you can't play them together to win a championship.
Yeah.
Flat out.
But
I agree
McNuggets
with
told me that now that Karl Anthony Towns is hurt, Minnesota Timberwolves is unbelievable right now. That's what he said.
Well, the metrics be showing you. Like, he could be getting a lot of points, but unless you spreading the floor, because now you think about it. When Mobley's getting the ball down low, there's nobody else around. So now you can't I can't sag off Jared Allen and come and foul you and do things like that, because that's what they're going to do in the playoffs. But now, because he's empty, he can throw his jump hook. He can pass really well. The court is just more open when you got both of them out there. And defensively, they're awesome.
Well, let me take you back to before the season started, because I had put this tweet out that said that I would trade Jared Allen and my picks for LeBron James, and I got scolded all on Twitter. And people told me I was absurd for trading Jared Allen for LeBron James.
Those people were idiots.
In life,
I might have been one of those people.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I think you was the one that said it too.
Then I'm an idiot.
in life, people love upside, right? People love, because upside is exponentially possible. Like, if somebody says, I can give you a lottery ticket, it's a scratch off, right? And it's up to $900 billion you can win. And you're like, oh, it's up to $900. They'll take that scratch off over $20.
That's
You a dummy.
true. That's,
No, you're not a dummy for that.
you're not a dummy.
That's a
but
bad
that
example.
is-
Give
That's
me
a
the
bad
$20.
example.
Well, it's a bird in the hand
I
versus
would-
one in the bush.
That's $20.
What you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
If he would have said 500, I would have said all right.
I know,
I
but the
definitely would have
likelihood-
took the 900 billion.
it's an odds play, and the likelihood
Right,
of
but
you
20
winning more
bucks, who
than
cares? It's $20.
I know,
take
but
For most people, $20 doesn't matter.
they're going to roll the dice because it's the truth or consequences game that you guys are probably way too young to remember. You might remember it, where they would bring out something and they would show you, hey, you can have this beautiful barbecue grill, or you can have what's behind door number three. And the crowd is going, go for it! And they open up door number 3 and it's a chicken.
Yeah, right.
And then, or they say no, and they open up door number 3 and it's a new car.
Yeah, right,
so
right.
what you're doing is you're playing the odds.
Playing the odds.
And the smart play on the scratch is take the money.
Not for
because
$20.
there are
500,
I'm
I'm
about
with
to say 500. I'm with you.
There are
100.
far
I'm with
fewer
you. $20. I'm down.
winning
I'm
tickets
rolling
over
it.
$20 than there are winning tickets.
I know that, but at $20, it's worth taking the risk.
So you'll just take the loss
Yes.
on that.
Yeah.
A lot of people will. That's the way we're wired.
But there's a lot of people that would pass on like 1,000 even.
No.
Now, I
Yeah,
wouldn't do
would.
that.
No. I would.
But a lot of people would.
Yeah.
McNuggets?
Is Jared Allen a $100 bill or a $100 lottery ticket, though? Because he's played in the league for 7 years.
Yeah, we know what he is at
The
this
upside,
He's
I'm
not a lot.
Sure
There's no more upside from him.
Yeah.
He
Now,
is what
Evan
he is.
Mobley to me is
A
the
lottery
question
ticket.
mark. He's the question mark. And I'm going to keep that lottery ticket. But Jared Allen, we know what he is. And we
And
know
he's an important part of the team. He's a,
Yes.
he's a leader. He's an
Yes.
energy guy for
he
them.
is an energy guy. I love
But
his.
yeah, if you could turn him into a better fitting superstar,
Or
then
if you
obviously-
just turn him into a wing, like you could
Yeah.
play a
You
center.
package him up in the wing.
You could play a center that's a stiff, right?
Robert Lopez?
And listen, we went.
let's not get crazy.
I mean, we went to the
I'm
finals.
just saying.
We went to the finals with Timothy Mozgov, and he was like,
He was supposed to be that guy, though. He was a 7-footer, so he
Timothy.
just him in the way.
hey, we thought we had something.
Yeah,
Boy, we think we'd be overestimating
What
a
to
lot.
put
man.
it, to put a nail in this 76er and Cavs talk. Basically, to me, what I'm looking for is how the bench players play. I need to see Karras and I need to see Seti come off the bench and make these plays.
And do it
I'm
against a good
assuming
team.
that Donovan and Allen is playing tonight.
And Dean, during these games, I would be making a decision. I need to find out if what's his name can play. Danny Green can play anymore.
Yeah.
I need to understand.
Has he played?
Nah. He has
Obviously,
not
they
gotten
don't think he can play.
Obviously, I need to see Danny Green.
true or false? I forgot about
I
true or
need to
false.
decide whether Stevens or Okoro is going to play because you can't play both. I'm sorry. I can't split the minutes between two guys who can't shoot. We're only going to do that once. I'm leaning towards Stevens right now, and I don't think I think Brook Lopez is a guy that is washed too. I mean, he
That's
can't.
not a bold
Brooke
statement.
Lowe?
right?
No.
You mean Robin?
Robert,
Lowe.
Yeah,
Robert.
you give me Brooke.
Don't
You give me Brooke.
bring
We got the scrubby Lopez.
Yeah, the other Lopez, Mario Lopez,
George Lopez.
Would Mario Lopez?
Who do you want, George or Mario Lopez on your basketball team?
Man, give me Mario.
Or Scott Baio?
I go George.
At least they
No, give me Mario too because he's younger and he's in shape.
allegedly, like Mario Lopez been 30 for 30 years.
Does
again,
George?
too.
Does,
Yeah, that's true.
He was 30 when he was playing AC Slater.
Does the wife come with George Lopez off the show? Does she come to the games and sit for a row?
Yes. I
Give me
might take George. I might
Yeah.
take George.
Motivational reasons.
Yeah, I get it.
I never understood this. This must have just slept me. What's the dude at Miami? Who's the dude that does the Miami show for ESPN?
The Miami show.
He is a Miami. He used to be for the Heat.
Talking about Levitard?
Jackson?
Yeah, Levitard.
Oh,
Dan
Not on
Levitard.
ESPN
But
anymore.
The
No,
other
he hasn't
day,
been
I
since
just
the
found out
Levitard.
that wasn't his dad. Poppy,
No, that-
Poppy wasn't his Poppy.
Oh, I didn't know that was.
No, that is his dad.
That is his dad.
No,
Yeah, no, that's his dad. That's very much his dad.
No. He's an actor. They came out and said it.
No, I think you got punked, bro.
No,
Poppy is his dad.
No, Poppy's not his dad.
We about to
Look that up.
Look that up because I've always.
G. Bush is rarely wrong.
I'm saying.
Well, now where did he hear this?
Where
On
did
the
you hear
internet.
the internet?
The internet is not always right.
But he sat down. He said, and we was doing the bit, and Poppy, like, I just felt like I should put my dad on there.
Have you been on the QAnon Facebook page?
But listen.
No, G, it's his dad.
It is his dad.
I don't know. Like,
Gonzalo Poppy Lebitard is a popular fixture on his son's ESPN show, highly questionable.
listen, I gotta find this. Was I on medication when this happened?
It might be.
It could have been.
I
might
just
have been.
Googled this Poppy Dan Lebitard's dad, and there's like 30 articles on the father-son relationship
Yeah.
between.
In fact, they show that now unless these
Am I
were fabricated, they have shown pictures of Lebitard when he was a young boy and Poppy when he was, his father, but much younger than he is now.
I don't even know who we talking about.
We got
Real quick though, isn't Lebitard huge? Isn't he a giant person?
No.
Big dude?
No.
What?
No.
I thought he was huge.
No. Not any.
Wouldn't
not
we be able to
abnormally.
tell on TV to some degree if he were huge?
Yeah. No. He's a normal sized dude.
That was
Someone told me he was like 6'5" one time.
No.
What?
No. He's not that big.
Are you ready for True and False?
Yep.
It is time for True and False, and today's True and False is brought to us by Colleague Racing, not only the UCSS official NASCAR team, but it is also the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. We haven't talked Guardians all week for good reason.
I lost.
Free agency, the Cavs are playing, it's
I
spring
lost.
training.
It's over.
So today we are going back to one of our favorite Guardians for True and False, none other than Mr. Tristan McKenzie.
And that's one of my favorite players right there. I
did it just for you,
I
Tyvis.
love
All
T-Dad, boy.
right, we got to keep it moving. We have 10 minutes.
We got 8 questions and a tiebreaker. Are you guys ready for question number 1?
Let's do it.
True or false? Tristan McKenzie went 9-5 as a senior in high school with a 0.79 ERA.
Mike's going to say no. It was a 0.81 ERA.
Hold on.
I got a crappy pen here.
I don't understand how you lost 5 times in your major league pitcher, bro.
We're checking for see if we have another marker down here, Bull.
It's all right. It's serviceable. Fine. It's fine.
How you 9-5?
Okay, false. True and true. 2 will be right, 2 will be wrong,
Who's hitting that?
and
Who said that?
Tyvis takes the early lead on Jay.
True. How do you hate me by 5
He took it on.
games and you got a .79
I double checked
ERA?
it. 2 different websites, including his Guardians bio.
There's
had
one
that.
way is if he
The
had
back
a
is back.
terrible defense.
The Mac is back.
That's the only way. And he was
That's
giving up
the
like 8
only way.
unearned runs a game.
Return of the Mac.
It's high school.
Return.
Oh, well, let's just see now.
9-5.
Question number 2. Mackenzie's younger brother is currently a starting outfielder for Mississippi State.
Man, this dude wears a size 26 belt, bro. He's so slender.
I'm mad.
He can wear women's jeans.
Oh, dude.
He can wear it like this.
His nickname,
He can wear
he told me
women's
at spring training that his nickname is Dr. Sticks. Doc?
Jay, that was the extra credit question.
He can wear women's jeans.
I'm gonna
False,
say,
Vandy. False from G.
I'ma say true,
True
man.
and true from the middle. It is false. His brother
Damn.
is a starting outfielder at Vanderbilt.
This is rigged. You know, it's sad. I
He
wrote
wear-
false and erased it.
he
It's
wears.
sad for you. He said his brother has the body he always wishes he had.
He probably wears a size.
This is
3.
rigged.
His brothers put together now, man. His brother's a big dude.
One of my friends we used to try to get. the
Bull's
most
currently the
creative
leader, by the
jeans.
way.
2-0. 2-0.
You have one now.
Yeah, that's right.
It's 2-1-1-1.
All right.
No, G has 0.
I have 0.
How are you guys screwed up on the standings after
No,
two questions?
Mike just does not know how to read my note card.
Oh
all
my
right? It's fine. I
God,
got it.
guys,
Anthony
pull it
writes in
together.
I have
hieroglyphics.
0.
Question number 3.
Fist.
Mackenzie struck out 10 batters in his major league debut. True or false?
That seems like a lot, but I'm gonna go with true though.
2 trues, 2 falses. And J and G are correct. G's on the board. Jay has now tied for the lead. He did strike out 10. Do you know what team it was against?
The
The
Tigers.
Angels?
The Tigers, correct.
Oh,
I knew that. I don't know how I got that
He
wrong.
told a great story about how the first time he faced Mike Trout, he struck him out looking on a slider. And he said Trout kind of stood there for a minute. He looked back at the umpire, and he walked away. The next time he came up, he had him down 1-2, and he threw the same pitch for slider, and he put it about 450 feet over the wall.
Got him.
Just waited for it again.
Front arm cuts.
Never come back to the same pitch twice on a superstar.
Question number 4. My favorite question. McKenzie has a career 3.68 ERA and exactly 368 career strikeouts. Am I a lunatic, or is that true?
No, he was getting hit a little bit. He was getting tagged a little bit. His ERA is 368 strikeouts. I don't know if that's. I don't know. 368 seems kind of like. I'm gonna go with this. I think
False across the board.
I think the ERA is good.
False across the board. You guys are all wrong. That is true. Such an interesting number that I had to put it in there.
Yeah, I just thought it was so interesting that you made it up.
I'm in your head.
I know
You are.
And
Bull and
Anthony,
out
give us an
front
updated
with 2.
scoreboard real quick.
All right, Bull and Jay are tied at 2. Tyvis and G are tied at 1.
All right, it's anybody's game. It's anybody's game.
It is.
Jay, did you sit down with McKenzie?
I did.
So you might know this one.
Probably my
Anyone else?
favorite player.
Might have to guess. Steve, let's take it. McKenzie's a Taurus.
Oh my
True or false?
God.
Christmas, you gotta be kidding me.
What the F kind of question is that?
Jay had an intimate conversation with
I
him.
didn't ask him what his birthday was.
Taurus.
You never know.
You know what the animal for a Taurus is?
The bull.
If this is false, I need to punch Mike.
I'm just playing the odds. I mean, there's 11 other zodiac signs. Are you kidding me?
False, 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 and true, which means either Jay or Bull will be the clubhouse leader.
That's great.
Tyvis, you're crazy. And it is false. Jay,
Yes.
You are a D-bag. D-bag question.
I had to guess.
he's a
too.
Leo. He's a Leo, guys. Come on.
We should have known.
What
that.
a stupid
What's
question.
the
course he's a
standings? How
Leo.
far behind am I, Jay?
2.
Oh, it's over.
It's,
It's over.
it's no longer anybody's game. It's just bull and
All right, everybody is tied at 2. Jay is in the lead with 3.
All right.
Yeah.
Next question. McKenzie wears number 24 because Kobe Bryant was his favorite athlete growing up. True or false? Tyvis says big fact.
True.
True's
True's
across the board, and the answer is true. You guys went 0 for 4 on the last unanimous answer. This time,
And
you
by the
nailed
way,
it.
I found a tweet that confirms
There
that
you go.
Dan
He
Levitar's
wasn't gonna let it
father
go. He
is a
wasn't gonna let
doppelganger.
it go.
I got it. It's here. I will show it
Who
to
sent
you.
the tweet?
He sent it. Levitar himself.
He hasn't been in the news cycle for a couple years, so he's
Maybe
just
he's
trying
just
to get
messing
out
with
there.
people.
Look.
If I can't take it from him, who am I supposed to take it from?
Next question.
It's still anybody's game.
It's-
It's 3 and 2s.
Yeah,
or
2s.
4
So-
and 3s.
Yeah,
4 and 3s.
4, 3, 2.
Don't trip up.
No, we all got 3, and you got 4.
You got 4.
Jay's up by 1.
He was 2 behind me. Now how's it
Look.
Jay,
Okay.
the official score.
I believe you,
Let's
Ant.
go.
Let's
Next
go.
question. McKenzie holds a camp every offseason with free admission for kids who bring a non-perishable food item for donation.
Now,
No, you have to have a perishable food
Now
item.
you're a bad person if you made this up.
I know.
I'm about to
That's
say.
why this is a bad.
Look.
This is a terrible question.
No, my answer is he does now.
The answer is true. Yeah, you know what?
That's
That
another
was too
terrible
easy.
question.
I'm like,
Better now.
I like Bo's answer.
I am aggravated with
let
Mike
me
right
find
now.
out he charged you 25 a head.
Mike, I got you at a high standard. I have you on a very
50
high
for over
standard,
12.
and you are not living up to
And
your
there's a
standards
registration
today.
fee.
All right, score update. Score update. Everybody is at 4. Jay is at 5.
All right.
All right, bro.
How many
I believe
questions
we
left?
have 2 left.
All right.
I believe.
We've got 3 minutes left.
thought
in
it
the
was
show.
like
Don't trip. Don't
One
trip.
left. This is live. This is the last
This
one.
is the
minus
one
the
question
tiebreaker.
left. Let's go.
Oh, this is the last
Are you
one?
guys ready?
Yeah.
Mackenzie's official weight on MLB.com is 165 pounds, which makes him the lightest starting pitcher in the major leagues.
Come on, man.
I need Jay to say true.
Well, here's the problem with that. But,
What you say?
that could be half correct.
What did you say?
It could be.
Please be wrong.
False. If it's
Please.
false, it's a 4-way tie.
Please.
If it's false, it's a 4-way tie. If it's true, Jay's the winner. Steve
Please.
has regained the belt.
I mean, guys, 165 for a
back.
starting pitcher
Listen,
is
I
awesome.
had no
My
choice but
ass
to go
weighs
out.
165 pounds.
Just the left cheek. Just the left cheek.
I had no choice but to go
Final
opposite.
score,
My
Jay
ass.
6, everybody else 4.
My ass weighs 165 as quote board material.
You hate to see
By
it.
the way,
Oh, man.
What
You know
up,
what?
Todd?
He's not the skinniest pitcher, though. There's relievers skinnier.
Yeah, I know. There's
that weigh less.
C.J. Edwards.
a few relievers.
Remember
TJ
Carl
Edwards was
Edwards?
125.
Who pitched for the Cubs?
Yeah.
I want Jay
He's
to plead.
just like
let Jay
McKenzie.
plead his. Let G. Bush plead his case.
no, I'm going to send it to tag board. I'm going to send it to tag
Yeah,
board.
because I want to
We
see
got
this.
90 seconds. So
There it
send
is. It's all in there.
Maybe Levitar's just effing with people.
Bro, I don't know. I know I wasn't crazy.
What do the comments say?
He got 2,000 of them. He say, anybody still want to be Doug? I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I find it highly questionable. There's no
Bills
way, bro.
re-signed
Wait,
Empoyer.
what?
All right, we're going to play it. Let's see if this works.
I like the. I find it highly
not
questionable.
allegedly.
That's smart. What'd you say?
We're going to play it. See if this works. Nope. This is why we can't promise anything with tag board.
Looks
Why
like
is his head
you know what it
bobbing?
looks like he's doing?
No. We're not gonna,
That's that dude from CNN. Get him off the screen. That's the guy from CNN.
So, hey, real quick, peel back the curtain. Tag board told us they now had sound. I wasn't going to tell you guys because that's what happened. I'm not confident it works. It's playing back here, but
ESPN, but I figured I'd come clean as a preventive measure before those sewage treatment plants, the New York Post and TMZ get a hold of this and distort it. I just wanted to tell you personally on the front end, or I guess it's the back end, that I'm not Hispanic, and my father is not Hispanic. My father is, this is hard to say, he's a paid actor.
I think he's messing around.
Totally
His
messing
real
around.
name is
I don't
Doug.
believe it.
You know, we carried on the lie for a long time because it was profitable. It got away from us. So
Total lie.
Doug and I are deeply sorry.
By the way, 250,000 people as of right now watching Pat McAfee as the show starts at 1 o'clock.
yes. So you,
Wow, 250,000.
The Patriots is trying to get D Hop and Jerry Jeudy, one of the two.
no overtime today. We
that's
are back
interesting.
tomorrow. Campy Russell in studio. See you then.
that's crazy.